Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Gerald, along with former All-Pro lineman John Hanna. And you've got 80,000 fans here for only the second time this year, hoping to see the Bills do something they haven't done in 3 seasons, and that's win 2 straight ball games. And, John, anytime you've got quarterbacks like Marino and Kelly, things can happen very quickly and get very exciting.
Dan Marino is the NFL's all-time passer. And if he has a 300-yard day, the Miami's record has been at 14-5. Jim Kelly, on the other hand, is the all-time leading passer at the USFL, and he'd very much like to have Dan Marino's title right about now. When he drops back, look at him also going to Pete Metzelar's number 87, who at 6'7" is a big target.
And, of course, Marino has a couple of outstanding targets, the Marx brothers, Duper and Clayton.
That's right. These two guys represents Miami's version of a balanced attack. Both these guys have 41 catches apiece. Clayton has 825 yards, while Duper has 794. So if you like a passing game, this is the place to be.
And, of course, the head coach for the Buffalo Bills in his second game here at Rich Stadium, Marv Levy, a winner in his opener last week against Pittsburgh, and across the field leading the Miami Dolphins, the veteran Don Shula, tied with Tom Landry for most wins among active coaches in the NFL. The Dolphins have suffered this season, 4-6 obviously now, not a playoff contender. Weather, not the best today. Temperature has warmed up. The forecast calls for the possibility of light rain. There was snow 2 days ago. There's snow on the sidelines. It's damp and it's cold at Rich Stadium before this sellout crowd. Getting set to kick off now, Scott Norwood, the second-year player from James Madison for the Bills. In the deep spots for the Dolphins, Craig Ellis and Ron Davenport. The crowd into it already. We're underway at Orchard Park. On the near side, it's Craig Ellis. Out across the 20 to about the 23-yard line before he's tripped up and brought down. Steve Tasker, who was just acquired on waivers from the Houston Oilers, who will be doing some return work today for the Bills, in on the tackle. This is his second game for Buffalo. Let's take a look now at the Miami Dolphins offense. The familiar figure, of course, of Dan Marino at quarterback. Hampton and Bennett, running backs with Clayton, Duper, and the tight end Bruce Hardy. Up front, Eastman, Foster, Stevenson, Lee, and Cook in the interior line had multiple injury problems early in the year. Just underway at Orchard Park, and Marino on the ground. First carry goes to Lorenzo Hampton, and Hampton gets out across the 25 to about the 27-yard line.
Thank you.
Bills defensively did quite a job on the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. Let's take a look at how they line up with McNanny, the veteran Smirlis at nose tackle, and Bruce Smith back in action after seeing only limited play last week because of an injury. Here's your linebacking core, Eugene Marv, the man to keep an eye on here. He leads all tacklers. And the defensive backs, Bellinger had a great game last week. Gromes, Bayless, and Freeman. Second down. And in motion is Hampton. For the first time, Marino throws, hits his tight end Hardy out at the 35-yard line, very close to the first down. Ray Bentley, who starts at a linebacking position for the first time under Marv Levy, in there on the tackle.
Both these teams already starting to pound on each other. You know, there's not a whole lot of love lost between these two guys.
A pretty good rivalry in the AFC East, and the Buffalo fans have responded en masse. Despite weather conditions 2 days ago were really frightful as winter hit western New York for the first time. A little bit warmer the last couple of days, and much of the snow has melted, although it's still stacked on the far sideline, and it is going to be a damp type of cold that Marino, Kelly, and company will combat today. First down for the Dolphins. Clayton in motion. Handoff goes to Davenport. Snap goes. Boy, they are hitting out there. Rodney Bellinger coming in off the left corner. Last week we mentioned he had a great game against Pittsburgh with 10 tackles and an interception, and he's ready to hit today.
Oh, boy, he stood Ron Davenport on his head that time. You know, he came up there and forced that run, put him right in the gut and turned him a flip. I think we're going to get a good chance to see him here. Bang. How are you doing today?
5 defensive backs now on the field for the Buffalo Bills. Darryl Talley has come out, who had played the left outside linebacking spot. 2 tight ends, Hardy and Johnson, in now for Don Shula and the Dolphins. Second down after a gain of only about a foot on that last carry. Marino backpedaling. Under some pressure, sets up the screen. It's Davenport sliding down at the 40-yard line. Eugene Marv was there. Davenport had some running room, but he lost his footing.
kind of interesting that time. They would go to a middle screen, let the Buffalo's defense get the rush, and just kind of let them get up in front of the ball carrier and then throw the ball. Here we'll see Miami's offensive line just kind of let the defense come through, and as they get through, they just kind of dump it off to Davenport. If he hadn't fallen down right there, he might have had some yards.
Pickup of about 4 yards. We'll call it 3rd and 6 now for the Dolphins. Extra wide receivers now in the ballgame for Miami for the first time. We've got Nat Moore in the backfield along with Tony Nathan. And everybody is out for the pass from Marino. On the far side, this one is not complete at the 50-yard line. It was intended for James Pruitt. 2 men crossing it. It was Pruitt who made the dive. Charles Rome playing on the right corner with defensive coverage, and Miami will be forced into a punting situation as Reggie Roby comes on.
It looked like there might have been some confusion on that last play. Both receivers over there, and then they brought in about 4 different defenders. So it looked like there might have been a mix-up in the patterns at that time.
Ron Pitts out of UCLA anticipating the punt, standing back at his own 16-yard line. Roby, in the first meeting between these clubs this year, did not have an active day. Was never called on to punt the first time the Dolphins and the Bills met. And in that contest, Miami was a winner 27-14. Here's Roby, and he booms one. High and deep, fair catch called for at the 16-yard line. So the first change of possession in this one, 45 yards on the punt by Roby, who is averaging just a shade under 45 in the year. And now the crowd begins to build as Kelly comes out of the field for the Buffalo Bills. They love this man, the new quarterback this season for the Buffalo Bills. Let's take a look at his lineup. Riddick, who had a 100-yard rushing game, along with the rookie Byram, who gets his first start at fullback today. Reed, Butler, and Metzelar's the receiving core. Interior line, Jones, Richer, Hull, the rookie Wilford at right guard, and Joe Devlin at right tackle, a veteran of 10 years. Chris Burkett, who we expect to see a lot of action today, is slotted to the left side. Metzlar's in motion as Kelly gets set to pass on first down. Under pressure, dumps it off to Byron. Byron with some room across the 20 to the 25, churning ahead to the 30-yard line. And nearly 80,000 in Orchard Park love it. 15 yards on the first play from scrimmage for the Buffalo Bills.
Some hard running by Byron that time. He's got his chance as a starter, and he's making full use of that chance. Watch the leg drive on this guy. He kind of just floats out there and gets a screen pass. But when a guy gets a hold of him, he just keeps those legs pumping and driving, and he gets those extra yards.
Getting set now for a first down play for Kelly after going to the air on the first play of the game. Riddick in motion. On the ground, it's Byram straight ahead, close to the 35-yard line. Byram, who has carried only 16 times in the season, that's in 10 games coming into this one, and he got 10 of the carries last week in the victory over Pittsburgh. Let's take a look at the defense now for the Miami Dolphins. They have been beleaguered, to say the least. The rookie Turner, along with the nose tackle Charles and big George Little at right end. The linebacking core, and you'll notice that Andy Hendel is playing for John Offerdahl. Offerdahl, the sensational rookie who's had such a terrific season, is hurting today and may not be able to see any action. An ankle injury compounded by a Monday night injury to his right arm. Kelly looking to throw, dumps it out on the flat, and Byram can't hang on. Carl Byram dropped that one. You see the reaction from Jim Kelly. You look at his stats for 1986, completing better than 61% of his passes.
Nice little flare out, just kind of dumped it off to Byram. Didn't do much with it, though. It's kind of funny, both teams have kind of thrown a lot of underneath passes so far, just kind of set things up. I wonder how long it's going to take, though, before they start really going to their weaponry and going downfield with that ball.
Well, 3rd down and 7. They've got 3 wide receivers in now as Burkett, Butler, and Reed are on the field for this 3rd and 6. Out of the shotgun, Jim Kelly calling the signals. You can hear him. Pump fake, got room to run. Needs 6 for the first down, and looks like he has it. Loses the football, but let's see if the play was ruled dead.
I think he is signaling it dead.
The ground cannot induce the fumble, so it looks like the Bills will maintain possession out across the 45-yard line. On the scramble that time, Kelly, who has a rushing average of nearly 5 yards per carry, going to work to get the first down.
Kind of pumped that guy off, and he saw the daylight. They had good coverage that time. He had no choice. Don't you think Buffalo people get a little nervous, though, when they see Jim running with the football?
Well, depending on whose numbers you listen to, that's a $7.5 to an $8 million contract that's out there scrambling around on that AstroTurf. Bills with their second first down. The handoff to Riddick, who gets his first call of the day, is out across the 45-yard line. Rob Riddick had 108 yards against Pittsburgh last year. His first 100-yard rushing game of the season. And you see his season data now. Pretty healthy average at 4.8 per carry.
Nice average. So you see here he's coming through the ball. But what Miami has done is they've closed their big defensive linemen, the ends, and put them over the guards. So they've reduced them and really stuck the middle up so you can't really get a good run up the middle. And they're forcing the running back or the running game of Buffalo out over the offensive tackles, where usually you run over the guards when you play Miami.
Reed in motion, handoff Byram straight ahead for a tough yard or two, and that's about all this time. Center of Miami's defensive core sagging in there, led by T.J. Turner. Thomas James Turner, rookie out of Houston, checks in at about 265 pounds. Going to be interesting to see, John, the impact today of the loss of John Offerdahl. Offerdahl has been such a sensational player. In fact, Don Shula and many of the coaches have related his impact as a rookie to the impact that Dan Marino had on the offense. And of course, Miami has needed all the defensive help they could come up with this year, as you take a look at Chuck Studley, the coordinator, out on the far sideline. 3rd and 5, everybody bundled up against the cold. Temperature in the upper 30s just before game time. Reed again in motion now as Kelly backpedals, has a blitz to face, and he completes the pass over the middle to Reed. Reed at the 40 and out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Miami came with the blitz. Hindle was coming up the middle, but able to get the pass off in time was Jim Kelly to Andre Reed for a 15-yard gain.
I'm sure Andre was sitting out on the sidelines, and when he started his down pattern, he saw the blitz coming, did a little side adjust, came across the middle, and nobody was there. Nice read by not only Andre, but also Jim Kelly, seeing it come across through there. 15-yard gain. Nice block there.
Pretty good. Yeah, nice hit. Coming across was Paul Langford from the opposite corner, trying to chase Reed down. Ball is spotted at the 38-yard line. First time for the Bills now to be in the opponent's territory as Metzlars goes in motion. Kelly with good protection dumps it off on the far side. It's Metzlars, leading receiver this year, down at the 33-yard line. Jackie Shipp and Bob Brzezinski, a couple of backers over there to make the tackle on Pete Metzlars. And you mentioned John coming in. He gives you that big target. He stands 6'7", weighs better than 240 pounds.
All you got to do is throw it up in the air, and all the other little defensive backs are jumping up and can't even reach the ball. But what's impressed me so far right now is the way Buffalo is moving the ball. They aren't making any mistakes. They've been able to move the ball before, but they've always had fumbles and turnovers. If they can keep it together, they might score on this drive.
Ball spotted just a shade inside the 34-yard line now. We're at 2nd down. 5 yards needed for the first down. Riddick in motion to the near side. Inside handoff. Byram shakes off one man across the 30, and he has some room to the 20 and down at the 16-yard line. The rookie, Carl Byram from Mississippi Valley State, shaking off one man at the line of scrimmage and turning in an 18-yard pickup for the Bills.
Byram reminds me a lot of a fullback they had here once before by the name of Braxton. Big, rough, bruising type guy that just runs over people. From what I understand, talking to some of the coaches, he's as good a blocker as he is a runner.
Blackwood and Brown finally able to muscle him down at the 16-yard line. Another first down for the Bills, who've been impressive in their first series midway through the first quarter at Orchard Park. No score in the ball game. Delighted to have you along for this one with a sellout crowd. This is Riddick churning his way to the 12, possibly the 11. Riddick has a cast on his left wrist. You can see it there. It's nicely taped up. He broke a bone in the wrist, and he had that performance last week against the Steelers for a career high, so obviously the injury not causing him a great deal of difficulty.
Well, this is where Miami's got to bone up. You know, they've always been known for the time where they can kind of give yardage and give yardage, but this year they haven't stopped them when they've got inside the 20. Let's see if they're going to do it today.
2nd down. Ball just short of the 10-yard line. Riddick and Byram in the I formation. Burkett slotted right side as Kelly with a little play action fake has Byram. Touchdown, Buffalo. see the snow in the background on the sidelines, but let me tell you, this place is warming up in a hurry as the rookie, Carl Byram, takes in a 10-yard touchdown pass from Jim Kelly, and the Bills lead it by 6.
This is the last thing that Miami wanted to see happen, is let Buffalo get up on them. Because those guys get excited, they can go crazy. They've got the talent, they just haven't put it together yet.
First touchdown of the rookie's career. Scott Norwood, number 11, on for the conversion attempt out of the hold of John Kidd. We'll look straight at it. High snap, but no problem. Right through the middle. And the Buffalo Bills using a lot of clock on a very impressive first drive. 5:29 to play in the first quarter, and the Bills enjoying themselves in the early going. You see the numbers on the scoring drive and a 10-yard touchdown pass. Kelly to the rookie Carl Byram. And there's Byram on the sideline after savoring his first ever NFL touchdown.
I tell you, the fans here in Buffalo have already got the wave going. They're giving Miami a little bit of their own medicine. Because if you've ever been to the Orange Bowl, when Miami gets ahead, you can't even hear yourself talk.
They got both the upper and lower decks going in tandem around this bowl at this time as Norwood gets set to kick off for the second time. The Dolphins in their first series got one first down and then were forced to punt. We look at Ellis and Davenport now swapping sides here as the return men. It's been 3 years, as we mentioned at the open of this telecast, since the Buffalo Bills have won back-to-back ball games. Here's the kick. Greg Ellis from the goal line.
He's got a crack.
Out across the 30-yard line. Pretty good return that time for Greg Ellis out of San Diego State, a first-year player, and Ronnie Pitts is in on the tackle to watch Ellis retreat to the far sideline. 5:19 to go, first quarter. Buffalo by a touchdown over Miami. Stay with us.
Watch closely. We're about to put this new Ford Mustang through its paces.
Where the Bills lead Miami 7-0. And a short week for the Miami Dolphins. They, of course, were involved in a Monday night game against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Cleveland prevailing 26-16 in that one, and Bernie Kosar had just one of those sensational performances as he threw for 401 yards. Don Shula trying to forget about the woe of Monday night in Cleveland, concentrating now on the task at hand here in Buffalo. His ball club gave up 558 yards, which is one of the 5 leading or worst performances on the part of the Dolphins in the club history in that Monday night game.
That's right. And this man right here is not used to losing. He's not a loser at all. He's a winner in every sense of the word.
Here's the man who has made the Dolphins a winner in recent years, the quarterback Dan Marino, getting set, trying another series now, starting from their own 31-yard line, trailing by 7. Handoff goes to Woody Bennett, being chased and dropped for a loss. Bruce Smith, second-year player out of Virginia Tech. Boy, he had good penetration that time. He blew by somebody in that offensive line.
I couldn't tell for sure, but it looked like he had just kind of a little slant in where he went inside the offensive tackle and went underneath and made the sack. You can see Foster had pulled, and he did. He came underneath and ran Bennett down. Not so gently, I might add, either.
Very emphatic tackle. He's a big man at 6'4", 280 yards. As we watch him get into position now. Second and close to 11. About a half-yard loss on that carry for Davenport. Miami's ground game has really suffered through the season. Here's the pass intended at the 40-yard line for Moore, incomplete. Over on that corner, Rodney Bellinger was there, and also you saw the inside backer Ray Bentley, number 50, in that same territory. We checked the 10-minute ticker for the first time this afternoon. The Giants with a field goal early up on Minnesota. No other scores in this particular panel. Houston and Pittsburgh are 7-7. Walter Abercrombie with an 8-yard run. Moon going to Givens for 33 yards. And Green Bay on a Randy Wright touchdown pass to Philip Epps leads Tampa Bay. Here are our scores, 7-0. We have 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter as we look on Rich Stadium. Sellout crowd for the second time this year. This facility seats just over 80,200. Marino waiting and dumps it over the middle and has more underneath. And he's tripped up in an excellent tackle by Derek Burrows. The veteran Nat Moore tripped up that time by Burrows.
You know, Derek Burrows was the starter. In the last 2 weeks, he's kind of been sitting on the sideline. And every time he's in there on these, you know, 3rd and long situations, he has made the most of it. So you can see right here, nobody's around, but with just superior hustle, he got in there and really saved what could have been a first down.
So Roby comes on to punt as the Dolphins can't get the offense going, and Ron Pitts is back awaiting the kick, standing now just behind his own 20-yard line at about the 19. Look at the numbers on Roby. This one a little more of a line drive, got a little distance, but Pitts will have an opportunity to run it back. He gets about 7 yards, and he is popped right there. About the 2nd or 3rd man down there got a pretty good shot at him, trying to pick up a number. The man who made that hit was Ron Davenport. 44 yards in the punt as we make this break. Kelly with time, and contact made over on the far side. Byron, the intended receiver. Bob Rudzinski was over there. You saw a quick shot of Glenn Blackwood as well. No penalty flags down anywhere in sight. Some of the Buffalo fans not real happy with that fact.
Well, it was a legitimate number 50 on the left side of your screen there. Comes in with a little blitz. And although he gave it a good shot of blocking, Rob Riddick just didn't do quite the job he needed to do and put a little pressure on Jim that time.
Blackwood was thinking, I think, perhaps about trying to pick that one off and get to the end zone. Man who has 25 interceptions in his career. Had a 10-tackle performance Monday night in the loss against Cleveland. Little play action fake from Kelly. Now Kelly fires down the middle, and look at this. Oh, no. Ricky Moore can't hang on. Oh, my. Play action fake, and look at the reaction. Downcast eyes from Jim Kelly because he knew he had something going there. And Ricky Moore just couldn't hang on to it.
And he can't afford to make those kind of mistakes either, because Ricky Moore is fighting right now. He was the starter at the beginning of the year. Carl Bynum came in, took his place, and now he gets an opportunity. You make a mistake like that, you have to go back to the bench and say, oh, man, what have I done to myself?
It's going to be lonely back on that bench after that type of a drop right there. Obviously, with cold weather, all the receivers wearing gloves. Weather could be a factor, but it's something that every receiver in the NFL, of course, has to get used to. And a tough drop there for Moore. Kelly trying again. This one intended for Reed at the 33-yard line, a little high that time. Andre unable to pull it down.
One thing I'm really impressed with, though, is the time that Jim Kelly's getting back there. You know, that's been one of the digs on Miami's defense, is the fact that they haven't been getting the pressure in. And one thing I can't understand about Miami is, you know, their best pass rusher, Doug Betters, is on the bench right now.
John Kidd standing back, punt formation now, awaiting the snap at his own 14-yard line. Craig Ellis awaits the punt for Miami. High snap. Kidd pulls it down and gets the kick off. Not particularly long at the 32-yard line. And look at the coverage downfield. On the part of the special teams, that's Steve Tasker once again. He had 3 tackles last week in his first appearance in a Bills uniform, and a big one here. 3:04 to go, first quarter.
4 years ago, Ford Escort became the world's best-selling car.
Craig Ellis fielding a 39-yard punt, and this was the reception he got from Steve Tasker. Boom, right there. And let's check the reaction of the kicker, Kidd, because he had a high snap from center. He was delighted to see that downfield coverage. Here's Marino backpedaling to the 24. Firing far side. Pass is complete. And on the sideline, pulling it in, is Clayton. Mark Clayton in the grasp of Charles Rome, picking up 11 yards on the quick hit from Dan Marino. We check the ticker. Cincinnati draws first blood against Seattle. Giants and Minnesota now deadlocked with field goals. Other activity in the early games today. Still no change here. Houston and Pitt tied at 7. And Green Bay on another Randy Wright touchdown pass. This one going to James Lofton. 2-touchdown advantage against Tampa Bay. Out of the 46-yard line. Dolphins trailing 7-0. Hampton straight ahead for only a yard or two. Ray Bentley, the first-year linebacker out of Central Michigan. He was an all-league player in the USFL for the Michigan Panthers, making the stop.
Ray Bentley's a big linebacker. He's about 250, and what he's known for is being able to come up and take on a big guard when he comes out on him and shed him and make the tackle. That's just what he's done. And, you know, it's funny the way he got his start is because George Cummings so small and then Tony Furjanic being injured.
Second down now. Pickup of 2 on the last carry. 8 yards needed. Miami close to midfield. Penalty markers are down. Pass is dumped off to Davenport. Gets into Buffalo territory for the first time. But once again, the penalty markers are down on that play as it unfolded. Eugene Marv and Lucius Sanford, backers there on that right side, combining to make the tackle. Or on the strong side, we should say.
Miami has always been known to be able to draw the opponent off sides. You know, they started with Bob Grease. You know, he'd get that count and he'd flex that voice and people would start jumping and quivering and get that extra 5 yards. And I think he must have carried that trait on right to Dan Marino, because apparently, you know, you can see them start bobbing that head and barking those signals, and he'll put an emphasis where it shouldn't be.
Offside, defense, number 78, second down.
It'll really cause some defenses some problems, at least make them honest.
That's Bruce Smith, who is offside. Let's take a look. Number 78, making the movement there at the top of the screen. Miami in Buffalo territory for the first time now, needing 3 yards to get the first down. This is second down coming up. Hampton and Davenport are the running backs. Marino possibly checking off here. Buffalo making a defensive adjustment now as Marino looks to the right side, completes the pass. Duper still on his feet and finally out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. Duper with a lot of little head fakes there and managing to stay in bounds before Bentley could bang him out. 9-10-yard pickup on that pass from Marino.
Not only was it a few head fakes, but a few jitterbug steps. I mean, this guy's feet's moving 90 miles an hour.
9-yard gain.
How would you like to be in the open field trying to tackle that guy?
No, thank you.
That's why I played offense.
Or for that matter, his fellow receiver that we saw at the top of the show, Clayton and Duper. What a combination. Hampton in motion, Marino looking toward Hampton and has him in his sights down at the 30-yard line. Be short of the first down, but a nice pickup as the Dolphins now begin to generate a little momentum. We've got some contact over on the far sideline after that 8-yard pickup to Lorenzo Hampton.
Getting a little excited there, but the thing that I see right now, Buffalo's defense, they're really protecting themselves maybe too much by dropping all their defensive backs too deep. And they're giving up these little underneath patterns. And a 4- or 5-yard pass in the long run is just as effective as a long bomb.
Have a minute and 10 seconds to go in the first quarter with Buffalo leading. We watch the defense get set, and now Marino into the crouch. Second down, 2 yards needed for the first down. Straight ahead on the dive play, Davenport. Doesn't look like he got it. Fred Smerlis, the nose tackle, a veteran of some 8 seasons, leading the charge.
Fred Smerlis is you got a great matchup. Both those guys, Fred Smerlis, Dwight Stevenson, both Pro Bowlers. Great fight out there. You know, watch these two guys go after each other. And makes the tackle.
That's a great matchup. You've got Pro Bowlers, as you mentioned, in Stevenson, number 57, the center for the Dolphins, and 76, Smerlis, who's a 4-time Pro Bowler, the nose tackle for the Bills.
You know, and what Fred wants to do after he gets through with football is be a pro wrestler.
Third down, a yard needed. The handoff inside, Davenport, and I'm not sure that he got it this time. Rodney Bellinger with penetration from the left corner, number 36, in there to make the stop. And you see an anxious Don Shula trying to get an eyeball there on the sideline to see whether or not they got the first down. Fourth down has been indicated. We're waiting for a moment to see if they bring in the chains. The gun has sounded. We have reached the end of the first quarter at Orchard Park, New York, where the Buffalo Bills, with an impressive start, lead the Miami Dolphins by 7. Anna with you from Orchard Park, New York. We look at first quarter statistics. Relatively evenly matched. Buffalo leading the ball game 7-zip. And to start the second quarter, a pivotal play. It's fourth down, less than a yard needed. Miami has given indication that they'll be going for it here, trying to keep a drive alive as they trail by 7. There's a 10-yard touchdown pass from Kelly to Byram, the rookie running back, to give the Bills the advantage.
This is a real momentum team for both, momentum play, I should say, for both teams. Whoever wins this battle is a great shot in the arm.
listen to the crowd respond now to the Bills defense as Miami and Marino look at fourth and less than one. Play action fake. Marino goes to the air to get the first down. Hampton out at the 22-yard line.
Pass complete to Hampton.
Nice call there from Don Shula. Don Strock on the sidelines, and Shula is right. And company as Hampton comes up with the first down.
You know, that doesn't surprise me at all, throwing a pass, though, from Don Shula, because I remember a lot of those third down situations and fourth and short situations where he would fake a running play up the middle and then have that little shovel pass back and then go for the long bomb and they'd score on you. So Shula's got a few tricks up that sleeve.
First down for Miami. Dolphins threatening for the first time in the ballgame at the Bills' 22-yard line. That's Hampton in motion, top of the screen. Marino with time over the middle completes the pass to the tight end Hardy. Hardy pulled down by Eugene Marr. Penetration carried him inside the 20-yard line. We'll wait for the spot as we take a look at Big Bruce Hardy. Checking the ticker, Cincinnati with a touchdown advantage over Seattle. Everything else looks the same. Atlanta now with a field goal up on Chicago. Houston trailing Pittsburgh. And a 72-yard touchdown pass, Joe Ferguson to Jeff Chadwick, has given Detroit the advantage over Philadelphia. At the 19-yard line, second down and 7 for the Dolphins. Marino fires over the middle, has his man. It's Davenport out of the backfield, and he is close to the touchdown. We're waiting for a signal. I don't think they're going to give it to him. And look at the reaction from Davenport. He thought he had 6.
They are giving it to him this way.
He may still get 6 before it's over, but as of the moment, he has not scored.
I think those guys up in the booth are taking a look at that.
Touchdown. There's your indication. Bob Frederick says, I'm going to take charge. Here's your decision. It is a touchdown. Davenport was incensed because he thought they were going to deprive him of 6.
We get a shot to look at it. I don't know whether the guys up in the booth, those extra officials they got up there looking at the same thing. We'll just see what we think here.
That's close.
That was close.
You're going to break the plane beneath the ground. That's very close.
I understand now why they had a little discussion anyway.
Ron Davenport's first touchdown of the season. He had not scored yet this year. Wad Reves now comes on for the conversion attempt, and of course the backup quarterback Don Strock is there to hold. This one is still, now we've got a delay down here and another discussion as Davenport, hands on hips on the far sideline, snow in the background. Waits now, and perhaps could there be a controversy or a decision taking place in that upstairs booth? That's certainly what you have to begin to wonder.
They're talking about it still. I think they're like us. That replay might not have been enough to decide on.
The umpire has the microphone headset in contact with the replay booth. Replay official for today's game is Chuck Heberling, and I think that's exactly what they're doing. Now, it's not the gentleman you see in the front row, but it's that second level back up in there is where the replay booth is located here at Rich Stadium.
They're sitting back there rubbing buttons and everything else, trying to get that thing back and forth. They don't know what they're doing back there.
They have to have what they term indisputable visual evidence, and we'll take another look from a different angle now.
Let's look at this.
Tough to tell, I think, from this angle straight on because of the depth of the lens.
Well, the question was, too, not only did the ball go across, but also which hit first, the ball or the knee? You know, was he down before the ball crossed the goal line? It's a lot of things to consider right there.
It would appear that that angle would be inconclusive. The other angle, however, would be the telling one, and we have what has become a fairly common procedure this season in the NFL, a delay here of more than just a few moments.
I don't know whether...
And we understand now that the play is going to stand as called because the play was inconclusive. That's the preliminary indication we have just gotten from our producer, Elliot Warner, down in the truck, and they have communication with the replay officials. And now we'll get the interpretation and the announcement, I believe, to the crowd from Bob Frederick.
After review by the instant replay official, the play stands, and it is a touchdown.
So there you have it. They took another long look, and the Miami Dolphins have 6 to trail by 1, and we'll get set now for the conversion attempt. It was a 19-yard scoring pass, Marino to Davenport. Dan Marino throwing his 24th touchdown pass of the campaign. Wad Reves getting set now for the conversion attempt. right through the middle. And we are tied up here. 7-7. Orchard Park. We have played less than 1 minute of the second quarter. Stay with us.
Challenge new person.
Court out of the backfield. That has tied our score at 7-7. Gary Gerald and John Hammer welcoming you to our telecast today. Second quarter action now. Resuming with the kick that is fielded at the 3-yard line by Ronnie Harmon. Harmon with a bit of an alley. Cuts back to the middle and gets out close to the 30-yard line. Ronnie Harmon popping that one up there before Mike Kozlowski was there to bring him down. And we'll see that the ball is going to be spotted in the vicinity of the 28-yard line now as the Bills, who scored first on a touchdown pass from Kelly to Byram, now go to work after Miami tied it up with this drive of 9 plays, just over 4 minutes, and the 19-yard throw, Marino to Davenport. Marino, as we indicated, now with 24 touchdown passes this year. First and 10 for the Bills. Kelly with 14 touchdown passes this season, counting the one on the Bills' first drive. Has Andre Reed in motion. Play action fake. Dumps it off for the screen on the far side. Reed loses the football, but he quickly gets back over it. He tried to set up the screen that time. George Little, number 99, was in there. And you see Jackie Shipp as well. Jackie Shipp really had a ball game, perhaps his best game defensively of the season. It's hard to say that after the Monday night game when you lose to Cleveland the way they lost, but he was in on 16 tackles in that ball game.
Well, you know, it is hard to say, you know, a guy you're losing and all this, but there's still some good individual performances out there, and sometimes you have to overlook the record to see who the good athletes are on the team, and he's one of them.
Kelly's last 5 passes have been incompletions. He's hoping to break that string now with a 2nd and 10 from his own 28. Byron back to block. However, he has to scramble, dumps it out to Metzlers. The streak is broken, and Pete Metzlers is out to the 32, close to the 33-yard line, and George Little again was there on the tackle. Penetration that time came from the nose tackle, Mike Charles, and you saw Kelly start to roll out of the pocket to the right side. He rolled right into the path of Mike Charles.
What he saw was number 99, George Little, coming inside. Then Mike Charles went outside and kind of twisted around. He kind of thought they had lost contain, was going to roll out, but he just got confused, I think. He missaw what was going on.
Bob Brzezinski making the tackle. 3rd down now for Buffalo. Their own 32-yard line. Score tied at 6. Kelly out of the shotgun with pressure. Has to hurry the pass. It's tipped away at the last moment. Good defensive play from the veteran Don McNeil that time, number 28, as he tried to hit Ronnie Harmon. McNeil is a guy who's in 6 years in the NFL has really had his share of injuries. He's had a knee a couple of times, an Achilles. He had a broken arm, I remember, one season, a broken wrist. He tore some ligaments in his thumb. Well, you talk about having to play with pain. I suppose McNeil qualifies on all counts. Craig Ellis back anticipating the punt from John Kidd. Kidd gets it off, and boy, he nailed this one. Look at Pitts back up. Or Ellis, I should say, to the 14-yard line, and then he slips down at the 19. Craig Ellis had to backpedal to pull that one in. Got 3 or 4 steps when he slipped down and then was hammered. A 54-yard punt in a tie ball game at Orchard Park. And the enthusiasm of a sellout crowd of some 80,000 here on a very cold day. This is definitely overcoat weather today, John.
Well, I tell you, it's cold. It always is in Buffalo.
Indeed. Temperature at game time was in the upper 30s, close to 40 degrees. Possibility of some rain or snow showers later in the afternoon. 7-7 ball game at the moment now as Marino goes to work. He's got receivers all over the place, firing for the far sideline, incomplete. It was Duper at the 38-yard line.
You know, I think this points out something here that, you know, it's might not be really evident to people at home, but there's a big crown on this football field. And it's about a 2-foot drop-off from the center of the field to the sidelines. And when that happens, you know, the quarterbacks come in, they tend to either overcompensate by underthrowing the football, or else they'll overthrow it and miss the guys by a mile.
We'll update the 10-minute ticker. The Giants have now taken the lead over Minnesota. No other changes in this first set of 3. Pittsburgh now with a 2-touchdown advantage over Houston. 1-0, 14-0. Yeah. I thought we had a baseball score going there for a moment. Here Here's Hampton now. Swing on the right side. Not much working. Lorenzo Hampton trying to find something on the right side, but Steve Freeman, the free safety, was up there along with several of his teammates to seal that one off for the Buffalo defense.
Buffalo's defense has been playing good football against the run. Their weakness has been against the pass. And that's how Miami scored the last drive, basically little short drop passes and, finally worked their way down in scoring position.
Last week, the Bills held Pittsburgh to just 53 yards rushing and less than 200 yards total in the game. That was an unusual ball game because there were wind gusts of close to 50 miles per hour throughout that game. It was really tough for the passers and the kickers, but Buffalo won a big ball game for Marv Levy in his first game as head coach. Third down now. Marino out of the shotgun. Looking long down the middle. Pruitt has it at the 44-yard line. So once again, Marino goes into that arsenal, and he comes up with James Pruitt, the rookie from Cal State Fullerton. And he comes up with a big catch, 24 yards on the gain. And you see Pruitt's numbers for the year.
Again, when you see James Pruitt, number 82, out here, you'll see that he's up in front of the defensive backs. I still say that I think Buffalo's defensive backs are too cautious. They're trying to play too deep on, not being more aggressive.
So from the 44-yard line, a Parka now for Pruitt, and Marino goes to work with a first down in this series. Marino with time stays in the pocket, flips it out on the right side. Not much working this time. Out at the 47-yard line is the tight end Bruce Hardy. Martin Bayless with the tackle. Reminder that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of this contest.
Two teams that we thought, are out of contention, they're not really, supposed to be great teams. This is an exciting ball game. Both these guys are really hitting each other. We've seen some good offense so far.
As you mentioned right in the first moment, John, there's quite a rivalry between these two teams, the Dolphins and the Bills. Not a lot of love lost between them. Two tight ends now for Marino. As you saw his numbers, he's had another impressive performance, hitting 11 of 14 thus far, and goes to work on his 15th passing attempt. He drills this one in at the 45-yard line, and it is caught, I believe. It's the tight end Hardy who came out of there. We weren't certain at the moment who had the football. Darryl Talley, outside backer, making the tackle. Bruce Hardy gives you that good dependability. He's closing in on 200 career receptions now in his 9th year. In fact, he's a proud father, I understand. Just a week ago, his wife Joni gave birth to their 4th son, Matthew.
I think Miami might be one of the most prolific teams in the NFL this year. Not only did he have a son, but I also heard that there's a couple other guys on the team that are going to have children. I heard my mind slipped. Glenn Blackwood's going to have a kid, and Tony Nathan's going to have a little baby here. So there's a couple of them.
Well, Marino, after a quick conference with head coach Don Shula, now has a first down to work with in Buffalo territory. Buffalo scored first. In case you've just joined us, it was the first series for the Bills, and it was a 84-yard drive, 10 yards, Kelly to Byram. Marino answered back with a 19-yard touchdown pass to Davenport, and the Bills now digging in their own territory against Miami. Marino with plenty of time fires, and it's Bennett at the 34-yard line. Out of the backfield, Woody Bennett brought down by Talley. Dan Marino has so many receivers that he can go to in that offensive scheme for Don Shula. You hear about the Dupers and the Claytons, but we just saw Hardy make a catch. We saw Bennett out of the backfield, a touchdown pass to Davenport earlier out of the backfield. That's a real arsenal.
Dan Marino's got all the time in the world. But, one of the prerequisites of coming to Miami, I think, now with him back there, is you've got to catch the ball. But, again, he does have time to deliver, too, and somebody's bound to be open if you give him that much time.
12-yard pickup. As you can see, they average better than 285 yards a game passing. That's tops in the league. Here's Davenport, tripped up. May have lost a half yard as he tried to get out of the backfield to the right side that time. Bentley was there, Sean McNanny also over in that particular area.
Miami is just trying to keep Buffalo honest. They have not been productive on the ground today against this defense, but they have been in the air. They better stick with what they've been doing best.
Buffalo Bills have not been a team this year that gets a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They've generated only 17 sacks in the first 10 games of the season. And thus far, Marino's had pretty much his own way back there as far as time. Second down, we'll still call it 10 after a loss of perhaps a half yard in the last play. Three-man rush. Marino again steps up with time and completes the pass to Hampton at the 30-yard line. Lorenzo Hampton brought down by Darryl Talley. And again, Marino throwing underneath, going short. We've only seen him go long on a couple of occasions to either the speed merchants, Duper or Clayton.
You can see everybody there at the bottom of your screen just dropping straight back. They say, well, you're not going to burn me. We'll give you the little short stuff, or you're not going to burn me.
So that'll bring up now a 3rd and 7 situation. Talley making the good clean tackle that time. 4 wide receivers now in for this 3rd down play. The Bills with an abundance of defensive backs as well. Out of the shotgun, Marino. Little pressure this time, had to hurry it, intended for Nat Moore, and didn't get it there. And that's what a little pressure can do up the middle.
That helps your secondary 100% because it makes the quarterback throw the ball quick. The receiver doesn't have time to go out and run a pattern, and then he's, all of a sudden he says, well, God, I'm covered. Let me make another move. And then he makes another one.
Sean McNanny, number 95, and we'll take a look at Marino now as he gets hit just as he started to release the ball.
Makes a quarterback think, too, if he can hear a little bit of footsteps every now and then.
Reves is on for a field goal attempt, and this will be a lengthy one. Going to be spotted at the 47-yard attempt now for Juan Reves. 7 of 14 this year. That's the lowest percentage among field goal kickers in the NFL, and it's blocked. The Bills have it. Coming up with it for Buffalo is Steve Freeman, and Freeman finally wrestled out of bounds. And listen to this crowd now at Orchard Park come alive after the blocked field goal attempt.
Steve Freeman alert, made the big play. But I think there's a mistake that's, we've seen 3 people fall down today. We've seen 2 receivers that caught the ball go down, they fall down. Now we see the kicker here. He goes up, he plants, he slips, he falls, he misses the kick. The mistake that's made out there is they didn't bring the right shoes with them. They should have tested those shoes before they ever got on the field so they wouldn't be making those kind of things. That's just equipment fault.
The crowd into it once again now as the Bills in Miami territory after a blocked field goal attempt go to work, and it's Kelly looking deep. Fires to the sideline, and this one underthrown intended for Burkett.
That was a poorly thrown ball. Buffalo this time, they've got great field position. They've got to capitalize on it right now.
Let's take a look at the block now. Fred Smerlas right up the middle.
Dry one.
See the left hand go up, and there it is. Knocking it away, it was Freeman who came up with it and made roughly a 33-yard return before he was muscled out of bounds.
Fred Smerlas has played some good football today.
Indeed he has, and that's a big lift for this ball team in a tie contest at 7-7, 6:50 to go in the first half. Kelly with an abundance of time. Byram out of the backfield inside the 40 down to about the 36-yard line. Carl Byram, who caught a 10-yard touchdown pass earlier, pulling this one in as we check the ticker. Cincinnati's lead is now 10. The Giants up 3 on Minnesota. 21-7, Pittsburgh over Houston. Still no score between New Orleans and St. Louis. And no other changes here in the games at Philadelphia and Green Bay. We're tied at 7 with 6:19 to go and the clock running here in the first half. And a very entertaining first half before a sellout crowd of some 80,000. Rich Stadium at Orchard Park, New York. Good look at Jim Kelly. They love this man in Buffalo. Inside handoff. Riddick, he's got some room. He's just short of the first down, it appears. Glenn Blackwood was over there to bump him out of bounds. The inside handoff to Rob Riddick, and it looks like he came up just short. And Don Shula is really giving what for to one of the officials on something over on that far sideline.
I don't know what he's talking to him about, but I do know this. Glenn Blackwood, who they say is a slow guy, really made a great play to keep him from making that first down. because there was nobody over there. Just two guards in blue leading the way.
Glenn Blackwood is just recently off injured reserves. He was slowed by a very severe thigh bruise through much of the early season.
He said that thing felt like mashed potatoes the first part of the year.
Fourth down now for Buffalo. Here's another one of those pivotal plays. Don Shula on the far sideline. Marv Levy on the near side watching his ball club. 4th and inches. 3 tight ends for the Bills. Big Riddick in motion. Byram, the rookie, gets the call. He's got the first down. Well, the rookie making the most of his first start. From Mississippi Valley State, there's a good close-up of Carl Byram as he goes back to the huddle now, and he keeps this drive alive. Let's take another look, John Hannon.
This is the kind of thing that you need to fire up your team. You know, it's 4th and inches, everybody's getting down and dirty, and you make it. That fires everybody up. It makes you have confidence in yourself.
At the 29-yard line, it was center Kent Hull, Jim Richer, and Will Wolford, the guards, opening the hole there. Byram went straight ahead. Metzler's in motion. Kelly to throw. Now under some pressure, has to put it into traffic trying to hit Byram at the 26-yard line. George Little was in there, forcing Kelly to hurry up that throw just a bit.
He did hurry him up a little bit, but to be honest with you, I think he had a lot of time then. You know, there's nobody open. Sometimes those defensive backs help that defensive line out, just like what we saw a little while ago when they put the rush on Dan Marino.
Another evidence graphically there of the defensive woes that have followed the Dolphins through the first 10 weeks of the NFL season. Not particularly impressive numbers for Kelly, but he's got his ball club on the move in a tie game against Miami. We're at 7-7, counting down here in the first half. Byram trying to work his way close to the 25-yard line before he's hammered down, and we have 5 minutes exactly left in the first half. Mike Charles, the nose tackle, along with Andy Hendel. Hendel again playing in place of the injured John Offerdahl, the rookie. Offerdahl had an ankle sprain that had slowed him in recent weeks, but it's an elbow injury suffered at Cleveland Monday night that's kept him out of this game thus far.
Kind of a little rollout action, fake type thing, and then they handed the ball off underneath. Both teams now fighting, want to go into halftime with a lead.
7-7, 4.5 minutes to go first half as Kelly goes to the air. Wide open over the middle is Butler and is pulled down at the 11-yard line. Jerry Butler pulls that one in. Another first down for Buffalo on a 16-yard pickup. One of the extra defensive backs, the rookie, Renee Thompson, there on the tackle on Jerry Butler.
Just a little simple across the field type move, just runs out, kind of post, comes inside. Nothing fancy. And sometimes that's the best way to do it.
Thompson getting an assist and Blackwood on the tackle. Bills, however, on the move. Deep in Miami territory, just short of the 10. Riddick, the ball carrier, with a head of steam. Look out! Riddick scores for the Bills.
Did make a great run that time, but I think we got a perfect example of number 35, Carl Bynum. He threw a block that just sprung him wide open. It was a beautiful block.
Well, let's take a look and see if we can see it now from ground level.
What's number 35 running right at you here, throwing this block? Bang.
Oh, yes, indeed. Wasn't that pretty? Right at the line of scrimmage. And Rob Riddick coasting home his 4th rushing touchdown of the year as we get set for the conversion attempt from Scott Norwood. 3:39 to go first half, and another impressive drive for the Buffalo Bills, who have broken the tie and have taken the lead, now trying to pad it out to a full 7. Again, a high snap, but no problem for Norwood. So it's a 14-7 ball game here, and on the sideline, Riddick gets the comfort of that extra heavy jacket because it is a very chilly day, to say the least, outside of Buffalo. 3:39 to go here in the first half. I want to remind you that next Saturday, Sports World roars into action as we'll take you down to Florida for coverage of the CART Nissan Miami Indy Challenge. National title on the line. Michael Andretti battling Bobby Rahal. And, of course, you'll see the likes of Danny Sullivan and Rick Mears. So join us for an exciting afternoon of racing action next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. That was a great event down in Miami, and I know you'll be enjoying that. And look at here. Is this rushing the season just a little bit?
I thought at least he ought to be dressed up like a turkey, not a Santa Claus yet.
Now they're enjoying themselves in the outskirts of Buffalo. 11 yards on the touchdown run by Riddick to make it a 14-7 ball game.
I know when that guy's dressed up like Santa Claus. With the arrival of Kelly and Livy here, they probably think it's Christmas in Buffalo.
Well, the influence of Jim Kelly on the attendance has been astounding, and we'll document that a little bit later on as we get set now. Davenport Ellis ready to return for Miami as the Dolphins trailed early 7-0, came back and tied, now find themselves down 14-7. Taking to the near sideline at the 12, it is Ellis. To the 26-yard line before he's pulled down. Coming up off the bottom of the pile, Tony Perjanik is there to make the tackle, and the special teams player, the kick coverage play here by the Bills has been pretty impressive thus far. And let's not forget, a blocked field goal set up that last score as we update activity around the league on the ticker. Atlanta up by 10 now over the Chicago Bears. Bears again without McMahon today. No other changes here. Houston has added a field goal against Pittsburgh. 14-7, score this one. We have Buffalo on top after an 11-yard Riddick touchdown carry to the right side. Marino and the Dolphins try to answer back. Marino on the right wing. This one out of the grasp of Woody Bennett at the 31-yard line. Harold Talley playing on that outside linebacker spot with the coverage over there. Bennett coming out of the backfield.
There's 3:27 left in this first half. And if there's anybody that I would want on my team on offense, it would be that guy right there, number 13, Dan Marino. Because he doesn't need about 10 seconds to get that 7 points back up on the scoreboard and send it back in at halftime at a tie.
Now, through the years, they've talked so much about that terrific quick release. When we say through the years, it's like he's been around forever. This is only a 4-year veteran, but you look at the numbers that he's rolled up in less than 4 full seasons, and it is just astounding. Marino sets up the screen. It's Davenport. Davenport across the 40-yard line to the 41. Freeman finally there to trip him up. Penalty marker is down. And it looks like they're going to take this one back.
Looks like holding. Let's watch Fred Smerlis and Dwight Stevenson here. I think that holding might be.
Offense, number 68. Second down.
Greg Cook, number 68, guilty of the call, negating a fine gain out to close to the 42-yard line. So the Dolphins, early in the season, really had some penalty problems. They've gotten that under control in recent games. They had 35 penalties in the first 5 games of the year. They've only had 12 penalties in the last 5 of the year, but they just suffered a big one here on the holding call against Cook. Second down, a lot of yardage needed. Tony Nathan trying to bust it right up the middle to the 30-yard line, and quick acceleration out of the backfield before Freeman could pull him down. 22 against 22, and we've got a penalty marker down once again. Oh, no. Wow.
How frustrating can it be? I mean, if it's second down and 20, that's a bad enough situation. Then when you get half of it.
Number 57 for the offense. Second down will be replayed.
Then you get half of it back, and then they call another one on you. It's like starting all over again.
This one called against the Pro Bowler Dwight Stevenson. So that gives you indication that the down linemen of McNanny, Smerlis, and Smith are creating some problems now for Miami's offensive line. And the ball, with the second consecutive holding call, has been backed up to the 8-yard line, where it's second down, and it's in the vicinity of 28 yards. Yeah, second and 28. And listen to this crowd respond now for the Bills defense. Marino to Nathan. Nathan out to the 14, and he is blocked.
Dang.
Coming up was Lucius Sanford, the right outside backer, and he nailed him.
That is what is called as a hit. Joe Long lured him back in, I guess, 1976 was with me. And he said, watch this Lucius Sanford. He's going to be a good ball player. And he's been everything Joe promised.
And let's remember, Lucius Sanford is one of those who had a back problem and had a disc surgery in his back. There's been so much talk the last couple of weeks about the return of Joe Montana, but Lucius Sanford had similar surgery, and he's coming back, and he's active, and he's making a significant contribution. We've got 2 minutes to go. Buffalo in this first half leading Miami. Lucius Sanford, remember, he just came back a month ago after back surgery, and watch how he nails Tony Nathan. Coming in from the right side of the screen, there you are. How do you do? And that's tally number 56, who kind of sandwiched Nathan on the downside. Tony's going to feel that one for a couple of days, I think.
Oh, that hurts.
3rd and 21. The Dolphins operating deep in their own territory, trailing 14-7. 3 men split wide to the right side now for Dan Marino, and he's got 2 receivers to the left side. Everybody out of the backfield. Here's the throw into traffic, complete at the 25-yard line to Mark Duper. The Bills come up with a football at Sanford, but that's going to be a Miami possession, and they will retain the football in the vicinity of the 25, 26-yard line. It is not, however, going to be nearly enough for a first down.
Did you notice how many Bills were around that ball carrier when he finally caught the ball? I bet the whole 11 guys were right there at him.
Reggie Roby, first time these teams met this year, he had a day where he never had to work. He's been on the field several times already today, and here's a beautiful punt. Pitts fields at the 22-yard line. Not much going as Pitts gets out short of the 28 for about a 6-yard return. Woody Bennett downfield to make the tackle.
You know, I don't blame him for falling down. There's a wall coming at him. I think I would have done the same thing. You know, I had a kickoff return here at Buffalo one time.
Did you?
Yeah. You know, they took it to me, and I fell on it, but I wasn't about to get up. I wasn't going to let those guys come after me now. I'm smarter than that.
Is that the only one in your career?
The only one. 0 yards return.
And that was, what, in 13 years, right, John?
That's right. Thank goodness Bob McKay covered me up.
Halftime, of course, scores and highlights from NFL 86. Paul McGuire, Ahmad Rashad, Bob Costas keeping you up to date. Week 11 around the National Football League. The Bills with a 7-point lead, 1:30 to go here in this first half, operating from their own 28-yard line. Kelly going to dump it out of the backfield to Harmon. Harmon with some room across the 30 and popped out of bounds. Good audio from the sidelines. You can hear those pads popping down there as Glenn Blackwood and Don McNeil, a couple of veterans, were over to make the stop on the rookie Ronnie Harmon from Iowa.
1:24 still left in this half. I think Buffalo's trying to get down and get in field goal range, go into this thing with maybe a 10-point lead.
Kelly with a touchdown pass. Started things off today, 10 yards to the rookie Byram. Dolphins evened it up on a 19-yard scoring strike from Marino to Davenport. And now the Bills have gone ahead on an 11-yard touchdown run by Riddick. And the Bills have the football as we count down the final minute 24 of this first half. Inside handoff to Derek Harmon. Harmon struggles for a yard or two. George Little there with the tackle for Miami, number 99.
You know, they sit there and they run those little draw plays. Let's listen.
First 1.5, and they have 2 remaining.
Timeout, 14-7 our score in Buffalo. The Achievers. Game left here in the first half. Bills in possession. Looking at a 3rd down. They need 5 to keep this one alive. Butler split wide to the right side. Reed wide to the left. Kelly looking to the left wing. Hits Harmon out of the backfield. Has a first down and more. Out of bounds. Close to midfield. In fact, he's going to be in Miami territory before Don McNeil can bounce him out of bounds. At about the 48-yard line, looks like a 19-yard pickup for Jim Kelly and the Bills.
All they need is another maybe 20 yards or so, and they've got a cinch for three more points.
A lot of people. Well, let's take a look at the quarterback comparison thus far. The yards for Marino, 144. He has the 1 touchdown pass. Kelly with a TD pass early in the first series. Trying to stretch the margin right now. Out of the shotgun. 4-man rush. Kelly avoids it. Going to keep the football now. Got some traffic. He has another first down, and out of bounds he goes at the 31-yard line. fancy footwork on the part of 6'3" Jim Kelly. Not scored a rushing touchdown this year, but look at the numbers for today. He got 18 on that pickup to go with a 7-yarder earlier in the contest.
As we watch Jim start scrambling here, we've got to remember also that the Buffalo offense is a little more balanced in that they do have some runners out there that can run with that football. Miami has not established any kind of a running game at all. They've had to rely on Dan Marino and him only.
Andre Reed had a pretty good pop on Glenn Blackwood just about, however, the time Kelly stepped out of bounds. He was trying to ease the way for a few more yards. The ball spotted at 31.
And a problem with the change. Reset the 30-second clock. Reset the 30 seconds.
Bob Frederick with some sideline instructions here for the 30-second clock. We have 58 seconds remaining in the first half. Buffalo leading 14-7. The Bills 3-7 coming in. A lot of people kind of poo-poo that record, and you can always play what if. 4 of their losses were by 3 or 4 points. We're showing Miami why right now. Here's a lob complete to Reed. Andre Reed brought down by Don McNeil. And the Bills are chewing it up here, getting closer and closer as we count down now to the 43-second mark. Kelly going to the hurry-up offense in the final seconds of the first half. This one to the right side. Riddick can't get out of bounds. Lost the football, and that'll keep the clock going. Renee Thompson with a tackle. We're at 27, and now they stop the clock. Timeout is taken by Buffalo.
He's close enough now to where he can start aiming at the end zone. You know, it might be where they got, what, another down. They don't have the one down left now. They might should have called the timeout the play before. Said, look, we're going to go with 2 plays. We're going to go both into the end zone, 2 different patterns. If we make it, it's a TD. If not, it's an incomplete. We're in field goal position, so let's just go for the touchdown all the way.
You see Marv Levy, the gray-haired gentleman there, who is standing on the right side of the screen talking with Kelly, somewhat shielded from us at the moment. This is the second game for Levy. Of course, was known well in the National Football League after 4 years in Kansas City, 78 through 82. Coached the Chicago Blitz, the USFL in 85, and then been most recently director of football operations for the Montreal franchise in the Canadian Football League. And came in to replace Hank Bulla here a couple of weeks ago. Got a win last week against Pittsburgh, 16-12. Sellout crowd rooting he and the Bills on today, and with a 14-7 lead.
You know, I can relate to what the Buffaloes are feeling towards Coach Levy right now, because halfway through the season, Raymond Berry came into our organization, and he really made an effect on us in that he pulled us together, got our minds thinking together, established goals that we all worked for together. And I think he's doing the same thing with the Bills that Raymond Berry did with New England Patriots.
Less than 30 seconds to go at halftime, NFL 86. All the updates and activities and highlights from around the league. Stay with us. Let's see now. Buffalo can take advantage of this last 27. Kelly out of the shotgun from his own, or from the Miami 25, looking for the end zone. Has a man. Touchdown. Jerry Butler. Was that a thing of beauty? 25 yards, and Kelly runs to the end zone to congratulate the 7-year veteran from Clemson. Judson and Rose trying to provide defensive coverage, and one of the Bills down in the end zone, and we've got to see if that is Butler down there, who has yet to get up. It is. The man who just caught that pass was sandwiched. He went up between 2 defenders, made the touchdown reception. His second of the year. Let's take another look.
As he catches this ball, he does get pounded, but he hangs on. That's concentration. That's desire. That's wanting to get it done.
Great concentration on the part of Jerry Butler, a former Pro Bowler himself, who is still down on the turf in the end zone. The Bills taking the lead now by a score of 20-7 on Kelly's second touchdown pass. And they seem to be working on his right leg or ankle. And Jim Kelly, a very concerned quarterback, is right down there on one knee alongside his teammate. The crowd chanting Jerry, Jerry, I believe, right now. Been a long time since these people have experienced the exhilaration of back-to-back victories. 3 years. They're very much into this one right now. Let's try to take another look at this from a different angle.
think you said earlier in the game that it was, since '83 that they'd won 2 back-to-back. And then to see guys like Jerry Butler right here putting that kind of effort into trying to win a ball game, it's got to be exciting for these fans. I mean, you're maybe looking and witnessing a turnaround of a Buffalo team that might be back like they were in the mid-'70s with O.J. Simpson and the Electric Company.
The ovation is for Jerry Butler, who's going to be assisted out of the end zone after pulling in a 25-yard touchdown pass from Jim Kelly. A lot of teammates down there, and they're going to take him directly toward the tunnel to our right. And again, the crowd picks up that chant, Jerry, Jerry.
That does not look good. They'll miss him because he is a deep threat. And I guess he's probably the fastest receiver they got on the team. So he'll be sorely missed by the Bills.
We had a chance to spend a few minutes with Jerry Butler yesterday in the locker room after the workout here and talk about the transition and this new enthusiasm that seems to be sweeping Western New York with the Bills getting that victory against the Steelers last week, and the word, of course, that they'd have a sellout crowd. Local television coverage of the blackout being lifted this week. Jim Kelly with 2 touchdown passes now on the sideline as Norwood is on for the conversion attempt. Trying to make it 21-7 with 21 seconds to go in the half. Right through the middle. So the Buffalo Bills enjoy now a 2-touchdown lead over the Miami Dolphins, and it's just so hard to think that Miami, with a 4-6 record coming in, a short week, having suffered in a loss against Cleveland by 10 on Monday night, find themselves trailing by 14 here in the final moments of the first half. Here are the numbers on the scoring drive now. And as we indicated, the 2nd touchdown pass of the afternoon for Kelly, who now has 15 for the season. He also has a streak of no interceptions going. Coming into this game, Kelly had thrown 65 passes, and he has... We'll try to check the numbers on how many attempts he has made thus far in the first half of this one. He's over to 20 attempts now, so he has 85 passes stretching back to the New England game, and that's about a month ago when he was last intercepted.
The thing that I've noticed so far is, you expect Buffalo to score some points against the Dolphins defense. Dolphins defense is known to be weak. But what is surprising me is the fact that the Buffalo Bills are holding Dan Marino and company.
Well, they have managed to do that thus far. You got the shot of Marino and Shula conferring on the far side and how they'll utilize the final seconds remaining here. If they can get any kind of a run back, Ellis and Davenport, they may try to get something here before the half expires. Last week, when the wind was blowing so strong here, you couldn't tee the football up. You couldn't even think about it. They had to hold the ball on the tee. Wind gusts close to 50 miles per hour really hurt the kicking game. Trying to avoid the run back, the Dolphins at the 33-yard line, and just falling on the football is Dan Johnson.
You remember that kickoff return I told you about that I made? That was a perfect example of it right there.
The Hannah Imitation Award for today goes to Dan Johnson of the Miami Dolphins. The ball at the 39-yard line. That took 4 seconds. We have 17 seconds yet to go here. 17 seconds for Marino, and with his arsenal of receivers, they could still get a lot of confidence. Let's see how they elect to play it. I believe I said the 39-yard line. It's a 34-yard line. Nose of the football short of the 35. Bills will drop their defenders, deep backs, way back there now. Marino to the far sideline, and he aired that one out. Way overthrown. Nat Moore was over there. Charles Romes, the defender.
Everybody covered that time. Throw it out of bounds. Stop the clock. Let's try it again, folks.
11 seconds now remaining in the first half. Chilly day at Orchard Park, but I don't think anybody in this sellout crowd of 80,000 minding the fact right now where the Bills leading 21-7. See the time remaining now as Marino sets up in the shotgun once again.
See those 3 guys up the top of your screen. We probably have a Hail Mary. Nope.
Nathan close to midfield as he scrambles out of bounds, and penalty markers are down. Sanford, Cumbie, Bayless were all over there, and apparently the officials thought that there was a little contact after Tony Nathan was clearly out of bounds. We'll get the interpretation from Bob Frederick.
Unsportsmanlike conduct up on number 57. The defense, 15-yard penalty, and first down.
Well, that's a mistake right there that would give a coach more gray hair. Marv Levy's got a bunch, but Lucius Sanford makes the extra hit right here. And it's a little shove, as you can see, and it cost him 15 yards. Almost took out the coach, as a matter of fact. And the ball is suddenly at the 35-yard line in Buffalo territory. 5 seconds to go in the half. Revés is on for the field goal attempt. This one will be 52-plus yards, close to 53. His earlier field goal attempt was blocked by Smurlus, and the Bills later turned it into a touchdown. 52-yarder on the way, and he drills it. Juan Revés, whose longest this year had been 44 yards, his career long was 51, as time expires, has just hit a 52-yarder. And that will give the Dolphins a bit of a lift now as they've come back to trail at 21-10. Nice little touch of momentum for Miami going to the locker room.
That's got to help them out. They go into the side. They do a little talking and said, hey, let's go, guys. Let's get it together. I think we'll come back here in the second half, and we'll see some revitalized Dolphins, or else Shula may not have them around much longer.
A couple of touchdown passes from Jim Kelly to Byram. Also, an 11-yard run by Riddick. A 25-yard touchdown throw to Butler, accounting for the Buffalo scoring. Miami with a 19-yard Marino to Davenport touchdown pass, and now the Revés field goal of 52 yards to make it 21-10 now as we've reached halftime at Orchard Park. NFL 86 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Cloud Crowd of the Year with a 21-10 advantage over the Miami Dolphins. A couple of touchdown passes from the rifle arm of Jim Kelly. We said on top coming in that it's always exciting and interesting when you have quarterbacks with the credentials of a Marino and a Kelly. They have proved it thus far with 31 first-half points. Kelly has the edge with 2 touchdown passes. Marino has one of his own at this time, and the Dolphins, who have been struggling at 4-6, are struggling against a Buffalo club that seems to be playing some inspired football, John.
They are playing some inspired football. These guys, you know, they've been down and out for a couple of years now, and here they come back right at you.
Total yardage for this one at 201 yards. I'm sorry, John.
That's all right. Well, you know, I was sitting here and I was just looking at these total yards, and the Bills have got 201 and Miami's 166, and you know, nobody expects that. Even though the score might be for the Bills side, you wouldn't think the total yards would be.
Rushing advantage, look at that, 7 yards total for the Dolphins in the first half, 77 for the Bills. And on the scoreboard, it's 21-10 with Buffalo on top here by 11. Now, there was a costly mistake in those final seconds, however. Lucius Sanford was guilty on unsportsmanlike conduct when he pushed one of the Dolphin receivers after he'd gone out of bounds. That 15-yard penalty gave Miami the opportunity to kick a 52-yard field goal by Revés as time ran out in the half to give them that bonus 3 points. And if you're a coach on the Buffalo side, you got to hope that that doesn't come back to haunt you.
Well, you know, you sit there, and it was a senseless mistake. You know, he had made a great play. He made a much harder hit earlier on Nathan. It was a great play because it was on the field. But when you're off the sideline, he was deliberately going out to kill the clock, and then he pushes. You know, that's really kind of senseless, and it's not very smart football.
Now, let's go back and take a look. There was a blocked field goal on the part of the Bills. Fred Smurlus came up with a big play right here to block Revés' first attempt today.
And again, it wasn't so much Smurlus' effort that time, even though he was giving good effort, as much as it was the kicker had the wrong shoes on and slipped down. This turf is matted down, and you've got to have the right kind of cleats on the right kind of field.
And then it was followed up by this.
Is when his receivers haven't caught the ball. They've been in their hands.
Let's take a look at the series today on the possessions for the Dolphins. You can see the first 2 were punts, then the touchdown, the blocked field goal, another Reggie Roby punt, and then finally the field goal in the final moments of the second quarter. Don Shula doing some pacing on the far side. Dolphins, who next are in action against the New York Jets, and then they have Atlanta, at New Orleans, at the LA Rams, and New England. Marv Levy in his second game here for the Buffalo Bills at age 58. Phi Beta Kappa from Coe College in Iowa. Also has a master's in English history from Harvard, a well-educated man who in the National Football League has got to be delighted with what he's seeing happen here in Buffalo.
Well, the big thing that he said he was going to do for this team is make the special teams better. And so far in the first half, the special teams has been the difference from these two ball clubs.
Harmon and Tasker in the deep spots now for the Buffalo Bills as Revés puts his foot to it. High kick, short, and taken at the 8-yard line by Steve Tasker. The new acquisition from Houston. He's got an alley on the sidelines. Bumped out of bounds. Good return on the part of Steve Tasker, and it was the kicker, Revés, who was down there to help out on the tackle.
Tasker was brought into this club for one purpose and one purpose only, to be a special teams player. So far, he's made 2 or 3 tackles today. He's had this nice return. He is doing his duty. And
unfortunately, that return is going to be negated by a penalty call. Dwight Drain, number 45 on the special teams, guilty of the infraction. Instead of being out well beyond the 35, they're going to be back at the 11-yard line now, where Kelly and company go to work for the Bills.
That was a costly mistake. I didn't see that flag. Oh, man. That hurts.
You saw the reaction from Tasker as he was coming off the field. Suddenly his stride slowed, and he was aware that they were going to take it back. Riddick in motion. Kelly with a little roll in the opposite direction, and look at this. Metzler's out across the 25 to the 28-yard line. Tight end Pete Metzler's. That was a cute little move that time by Kelly, who started right, rolled back left, and completed the pass.
Not only did he roll out, but he looked everybody off. He looked like he was going to throw out that way. I watch him here as he kind of rolls, and he stares out like he's going to throw it one direction. Boom, back to him he comes.
16 yards on the pickup. William Judson there with the tackle as Metzler slipped down. We've seen a lot of players slipping on this turf here today. Just a fine type of drizzle in the air. Temperature close to 40 degrees. Handoff, and going straight up the middle is Riddick this time. Gets across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Jackie Shipp in there for Miami. We were mentioning the Dolphins coming schedule. Let's take a look here first at Riddick now.
Riddick comes up here behind a fine block there by Mr. Bynum. This is an important series for Buffalo. They got to come back and say, hey, we're going to set the tempo. We aren't going to let up. We're going to make Dolphins work for this one if they want to come back.
Second down now at the 33-yard line. Bills in their own territory, just underway second half. Buffalo leading 21-10. Byram, the rookie, across the 35 to about the 36. As Byram goes back to the huddle now, let's check the 10-minute ticker as we keep you posted every 10 minutes. Activities in week number 11. Chicago and Atlanta deadlocked in a big ball game for those two clubs in the National Conference. Pittsburgh still with a comfortable lead over Houston. New Orleans by 10 on St. Louis. Low scoring game at Philadelphia with Detroit prevailing. And here it's a 21-10 ball game with Buffalo in possession of the football and the lead. Well, actually at the 37-yard line as Riddick goes straight ahead, and he needed a yard for the first down, and I'm not sure that he got it. Jackie Shipp was there to meet him nose to nose.
That was close. So both those lines just kind of hit and just stopped. It's like everybody just kind of froze right in their spots.
Dolphins have had an abundance of injury problems. This week they're without Bob Baumhauer, their nose tackle, suffered a groin injury in the Monday night loss at Cleveland. Lyle Blackwood is still on injured reserve with an ankle problem. Of course, they lost Hugh Green with a knee, and Joe Rose, Charles Bowser, lineman Steve Clark, Mark Dennard, Ronnie Lee. It seems like that list goes on, compounding the problems for Don Shula and the Dolphins. And the Bills have got a couple of key men missing as well. They're without Greg Bell. They thought perhaps Bell would be activated for this game. Their running back, who's been out with a groin injury, but looks like it'll be next week before he's in action. And the Bills will be going Foxborough, Mass, up in your direction, John, to go against your old teammates, the Patriots. Well, there was the indication, just a little bit short after they brought the chains in. So John Kidd comes in now to handle the punting chores for Buffalo. John was telling us yesterday about how tough it was to kick last week in that heavy wind. Here's Offerdahl, the rookie, as we mentioned, who has been such a terrific player for the Dolphins this season defensively, but problems with his right arm, an injury that he suffered Monday night, and then it hemorrhaged, was in the hospital a couple of days, pacing the sidelines. And the kick by Kidd, it is a beauty. Ellis backpedaling to the 14-yard line, and he gets only to the 16. And look who's there again, Tasker. Tasker hobbling just a little bit as he comes to the near sidelines. Boy, he has been terrific on special team coverage.
Did you notice, though, as he was coming and hobbling, he was telling her, get away from me. I'm a tough guy. I'm not hurt. You know, I don't want anybody to know they've got to me.
49 yards on that punt and only a 2-yard return. Gary Gerald along with John Hanna. Delighted to have you along with us in week number 11 of the NFL season. From Orchard Park, New York today, where a sellout crowd of 80,000 enjoying at the moment the Buffalo lead of 21-10 over the Dolphins. Miami now with their first possession of the second half from their own 16. And Marino will go to the air immediately. Dumps it off to Hampton. Got a blocker out in front to the 22-yard line. Roy Foster had pulled out from a left guard position to lead the way for Hampton out of the backfield. Sean McNanny there for a tackle.
Kind of reminds me about the way the game started in the first quarter. You know, they just kind of throwing these little flare outs. Again, Buffalo sending just 3 big men for the rush, and dropping everybody deep, giving them the short stuff.
You mentioned early that there have been 19 times when Marino has thrown for 300 yards in his career, and the Dolphins are 14-5 in those games. Marino with no real long gainers thus far, and on the ground, Lorenzo Hampton stacked up for no gain here. Ray Bentley, inside linebacker, spearheading the defensive surge for the Bills.
When you see it stuffed up like that, you know that the nose man has done a good job on that center. And we've got a good matchup in those two guys, in Smurlus and Stevenson, because those are 2 of the best players in the NFL. And it's a lot of fun watching these guys play, and even though they may not be on the best teams in the NFL.
So third down coming up now for Miami. Marino, as you can see, goes to the shotgun. Third down conversion thus far. That was in their touchdown drive. Right over the middle, Nat Moore out to the 31-yard line. Moore has the first down. Lucius Sanford is there with the tackle, number 57 for Buffalo.
Buffalo came up that time and showed blitz, but actually they didn't really come with anything. They dropped everybody back again deep and gave them the inside. That's a lot. That's being alert for Nat Moore. You know, he's had some experience back there. You know, Dan is audibled off to a kind of a blitz type pattern. He sees them backing off and he adjusts and runs a normal route.
Prior to the 85 season, Nat Moore announced his retirement, then came back to play one more, and here he is playing again in his 13th NFL year. Marino with time skips this one in. Intended receiver this time was Mark Clayton.
Mark Clayton was open that time. Dan just had a bad throw. He doesn't look real happy with himself right now, does he?
See the numbers for Marino. Total yardage up to 172 thus far. Trailing 21-10. We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WSBN, Channel 7, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
10 minutes, 13 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Orchard Park, New York. Gary Gerald and John Hanna watching Dan Marino and the Dolphins trying to regroup now with 4 wide receivers on the field, trailing the Buffalo Bills 21-10. Over the middle, dumps it off to Davenport. Davenport evades one man, gets across the 40 with a good effort out to the 43-yard line. Good move by Ron Davenport that time, and it looks like he may have enough for a first down. 12-yard pickup, and he earned much of it with some fancy footwork.
If I'm not mistaken, this looks like the very same series they ran at the opening of the game. Again, the little screen, middle screen, right? You know, let all the defensive guys rush, get back there, just kind of slip underneath them and go.
Roy Foster, number 61, with a good block. Eugene Marv and Lucius Sanford finally bringing Davenport down. First down for Miami from the 43 in their own territory. Marino being pressured, and down he goes at the 40-yard line. That is only the 18th sack of the year. It's the first one of the game. Lucius Sanford, you see Bruce Smith. Good pressure from McNanny and Smith that time, and Lucius Sanford, an outside backer, in there.
And that's only the second or third time today that Buffalo has brought more than 3 people. I don't think that would be a bad strategy for him to start using with Dan. Make him hurry up. Don't give all those receivers the time to get open because, let's face it, the Marks brothers have some speed, and you better not give them too much time to get open.
Bruce Smith probably would get credit for at least a half sack there. He was the leading sacker coming into this game for the Bills with 8.5. Marino asking for some quiet in Buffalo, and that's a mistake. Listen to the noise as he sets up, and he wants to throw deep. He's got a man down the middle at the 21-yard line. It's Clayton who pulls it in. Bayless makes the tackle. And just exactly as you were saying, he'd been setting it up, going out of the backfield, dumping it underneath for the first time of the second half, down the middle, 39 yards. Mark Clayton pulling that one in.
He split what they call two coverage, and that's where both of the safeties just play way deep and just kind of take either side of the field. And Mark Clayton, number 83, just kind of comes right in between, right down the middle, and splits the two safeties for a big play.
Boy, and Marino just put it out there like it was on a rope. At the 21-yard line now. Miami on the move. Trailing 21-10. Duper to the near side. Clayton to the far side. Handoff goes to Davenport, and there is nothing working. Miami ground game that had 7 yards rushing in the first half, still unable to generate anything here. And Sanford was there for the tackle.
Sanford looks like he needs a new helmet there. He hit somebody so hard he kind of broke the thing he had there.
Monday night against Cleveland, the Dolphins carried 17 times on the ground, got 58 yards. They had 7 yards rushing first half here. They have not had an individual 100-yard rusher since Joe Carter back in 1984. So that makes a 2nd and 12 situation now for Marino, scrambling and rolling to the right. Down the sideline, and his intended receiver was Johnson, the tight end. He lost his footing as he tried to stay in bounds and had no real opportunity to try to make a catch.
Dan Marino, while he was trying to roll out, they were hot on his trail, so he never had time to stop and set up to throw the ball. He had to run and throw that ball on the run, and that's a hard thing to do. You've got to plant that back foot and be able to throw off of it, and he just wasn't able to do it that time.
So now with 3rd and 12 coming up, fresh numbers for Marino. 4 wide receivers back in the ball game now. Take inventory. Duper on the near side with Nat Moore. On the far side, we see Clayton and Pruitt. Headed for the end zone. This one almost picked off and dropped. Rodney Bellinger, who had a game-saving interception against the Steelers last Sunday, almost picked this one off. Bellinger getting the start at a cornerback position, and that time down near the goal line, he had his hands on it but couldn't hang on. Penalty marker down.
That was a super play on his part because he was beaten. He gained ground to knock it down.
Let's take a look now at the wide receiver, James Pruitt.
As you can see, Pruitt was around him and behind him, so he had to make some speed. Great play.
5-yard face mask foul on the defense. Number 29 will be repeat of 3rd down.
Penalty marker is against Derek Burrows of the defense. So that puts the ball at the 19-yard line. It'll be 3rd down coming up now. Relatively penalty-free ball game. 6 total infractions.
How would they call a face mask penalty when he wasn't around the man that was receiving the ball?
I was hoping maybe you'd have the answer to that.
I don't.
I don't either. At the 19-yard line, it's 3rd down again. 7 needed. Marino scrutinizes the defense. Three-man Buffalo rush. Marino with time down the middle, in and out of the arms of Clayton. He had Moore and Clayton there, and it was Clayton who couldn't hang on, and he had a good shot at it on his knees in the end zone.
Steve Freeman, 22, had fallen down, and Clayton was by himself. Missed opportunity, but a big break for Buffalo because they held off the drive.
So Reves comes on. He's had 2 field goal attempts, 1 blocked by Smirlis, eventually resulted in a Buffalo score. He did, however, get a 52-yarder as time expired in the first half to make it a 21-10 game. Right now, he's about to try one from 36 yards. Strock holds, and kick is on its way. Appears to be good, and it is. So Fuad Reveiz gets his second field goal of the afternoon, and it's now a 21-13 Buffalo lead over Miami. Basically a dreary, wintry type day in Orchard Park, New York. The Buffalo Bill fans, some 80,000 strong, however, could care less as they lead the Miami Dolphins 21-13. The Dolphins coming back, moving the football behind Marino, then settling on a field goal of 36 yards by Reveiz. Reveiz continuing to have a problem with his footing out here, as have several players today. There was snow and ice on the field in the middle of the week, all of which was removed, and it's still damp, however, and somewhat slippery. Kicking off now, driving this one high and deep. It's Ronnie Harmon at the 6-yard line. Harmon across the 30 to the 32-33-yard line before he's pulled down. Kozlowski is there to make the tackle for the Dolphins.
Gives Buffalo good field position. They need to move the ball this time and revamp themselves, get themselves going if they want to stay in this game, because Marino can lead this team back.
21-13 our score. We'll see how Kelly and the Bills respond to that challenge in just a moment. The quarterbacks, Marino and Kelly. Marino with the advantage in yards and passes completed, but Kelly with the advantage in touchdown passes. One of 25 yards to Butler, one of 10 yards to Byram, the rookie. Marino with a 19-yard strike to Davenport. Bills with the lead of 8 points. Riddick with the football. Bumped out of bounds by Glenn Blackwood on the near sideline. We have 6:33 to play here in the third quarter, with Buffalo leading this one 21-13. I mentioned the Bills will be at New England next week. Then they're on the road again at Kansas City. They only have one more home game this year. That'll be in 3 weeks against the Cleveland Browns. They finish up at Indianapolis and at Houston. 36-yard line now. The Bills in their own territory. High formation backs are Byram and Riddick. And it's Riddick with the football. Loses the football, and Miami is recovered. Still squirting free. Hindle had a shot at it. Brown had a shot at it. And I think it was Mike Charles who ended up on top of the football. So Riddick, who had the 108-yard rushing game last week, trying to get a head of steam into the line that time, couldn't hang on. The first turnover of this football game today. However, turnovers have really been tough for both the Bills and the Dolphins this season. Let's take another look.
This has been the reason the Buffalo Bills have lost so many of their games, is turnovers. Well, both these teams have. But this one went against the Bills and for the Dolphins.
Bob Brzezinski was the man who made the first contact with Riddick and forced the fumble. Recovered by the nose tackle, Mike Charles. Marino trying to capitalize quickly and has it in and out of the hands of Clayton. I understand that Langford, I beg your pardon, was on top of the football. There were 3 of the Dolphins who had a shot. We saw that, thought for a moment that it was Charles, but it squirted out of the arms of first Andy Hindle, and Charles was there, and it was Langford who ended up on top of the ball. Give him credit for the fumble recovery. Ball at the 28-yard line in Buffalo territory. Second down now for the Dolphins. Miami trying to come back after being down 21-7. It's now 21-13. Movement in the line. Marino may have a free play here, and he throws this one way over the head of the intended receiver, Clayton. Contact. Looked like Bruce Smith came across defensively. Whether or not he was drawn off, we'll soon find out from Bob Frederick.
That was his second offside penalty today.
And it will go against the Bills. Bruce Smith standing there, hands on hips.
Defense, offside, number 78. Second down will be replayed.
Used to, it was Fred Smerlis that was always jumping offside. They'd squeeze the ball and do everything else to jump him off. Now he's kind of calmed down, and Bruce Smith has decided that he wants to take over that title.
Bruce Smith, who was last year's AFC Rookie Defender of the Year, former Outland Trophy winner, missed last week's ball game because of a bruised knee. Back playing here today against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins threatening from the 22-yard line. Pressure for Marino, has to hurry the throw. Again, Clayton, the intended receiver, and once again, Rodney Bellinger with the coverage over there. Good pressure that time. Sean McNanny was coming up the middle, and Marino had to hurry the throw just a little bit.
NFL quarterbacks earn their money. Those guys sit back there in the pocket, and they're defenseless. And they're just sitting back there waiting and waiting, and finally somebody just knocks the pea-doodle out of them, and they don't have any way to guard themselves at all.
Well, you got a very good look right there of how Marino is earning his paycheck today against the Buffalo Bills. 4 wide receivers now for this third down situation. You see Miami's success today, 2 of 7. 3-man Buffalo rush. Marino with time. This time he completes the pass at the 15-yard line to Nat Moore. Derek Burrows with defensive coverage in the secondary for the Bills. And a first down for Miami. So that quiets the crowd very quickly.
3 defensive players for the Bills. Nat Moore drives all 3 of them back, and then he comes underneath and catches the pass. They're still playing really soft, giving them all the underneath passes they want. Hopefully the strategy will prove off and they won't let them in the end zone, but they're awful close right now.
At the 15-yard line, Dolphins, who've beaten the Bills 5 consecutive times, 9 out of the last 10, trying to get back in it now, trailing 21-13. Marino again with protection, in and out of the arms. This time Duper at the 1-yard line, and that would have been an easy 6 had he been able to hang on. Marino really put a bullet in there that time. A lot of steam on that one.
Well thrown ball right into his hands. We've seen a couple of passes like that. One, Mark Clayton came over when Steve Freeman fell down. He dropped it. Now Duper dropped it. This isn't the Miami Dolphins that, you know, we remember. They just aren't playing up to the way they've known throughout history of the Shula era.
Mark Duper has had 5 100-yard receiving days this season, 17 in his career, which is now in the 5th year. He scored 6 touchdowns this season, but he had a potential 7th go right through his fingers on that last pass. From the 15 once again. Marino in trouble down at the 30-yard line, and it's Bruce Smith who has him wrapped up. And look at this. Pee Wee Herman would be proud.
Excellent coverage that time by the Buffalo secondary. Bruce Smith comes in. He's playing in front of John Giesler, and he just gives Giesler more than he can handle this time.
Second sack of the day. Marino did a good job of hanging onto the football because he had that arm cocked back there, kept a good strong grip on it. So it's going to be 3rd down now, and looks like about 22 to go after the second Buffalo sack. And look at Smith exhorting the crowd. Is he fired up or what? And that'll light up this crowd here in Buffalo. My goodness, 3rd and 22. Marino with time, end zone, he's got a man, touchdown, it's Duper. Into the snowbank, and just like that, after the sack, Marino, with that explosive release, comes back, and Duper atones for missing an opportunity a moment ago with a 27-yard touchdown reception.
Duper just blows by Rodney Bellinger right here. You know, I guess maybe I ought to keep my mouth shut here. They've been playing deep and giving him the short ones. That time he plays them tight, and he just goes right by him.
Good concentration. He could have easily dropped that ball because he didn't have it cleanly in his hands, and he got it back against the body and managed to hang on while he was backpedaling toward the goal line. 27 yards on the touchdown, and the Dolphins are right back in it. After the Bills had sacked Marino, and Smith was exhorting the crowd to really get into it. Conversion attempt through the middle. So it's a brand new ball game here in the outskirts of Buffalo with 4:40 to go, 3rd quarter. Buffalo still on top, but the gap has been closed.
Snake River, Wyoming.
7-yard touchdown pass, Marino to Duper. The Dolphins have closed now to within 1. 21-20 is our score, and huddled over there on the far sideline with a little snow piled up behind him, trying to stay warm, Mark Duper. Dolphins kicking off. See how the Bills answer back from the 6-yard line. Ronnie Harmon. Harmon runs into one man, still on his feet, but down at about the 19-yard line.
Good coverage by Miami that time. They didn't even get it out past the 20, and anytime you can do that, especially since they moved the ball back, what, the last 2 or 3 years. If you can get it back, keep it back inside the 20, you've done a heck of a job.
Couple of tight ball games. Minnesota and the Giants, a good one. Pittsburgh still comfortable. New Orleans leading St. Louis. 2 other early games. Green Bay enjoying a big day at the expense of Tampa Bay. Randy Wright having a lot of fun on that one for one of the few times this year for the Pack. We've got a good one going here at Orchard Park, New York. 21-20. Buffalo with a football on top. Kelly going to waste no time going to the air, and he's going deep. He's got it, and Burkett can't hang on at the 42-yard line. Chris Burkett stretched out for that one, had a shot, couldn't come up with it. Judson and Blackwood trying to match strides defensively.
A little frustration in Jim Kelly's face that time. You know, he knew he had him led. He was throwing the ball. He put it out there. He felt like it should have been caught.
Got the feeling, too, that Burkett may have hurt that left arm. He wasn't moving it while he was jogging off to the sideline. Let's take a look from this angle. Right on the fingertips, had every opportunity to hang on to that one and could not. Remember, Jerry Butler was injured late in the first half. Has not returned to action. Had no update on his injury. Appeared to be to a lower leg. Kelly over the middle, incomplete. Hendel substituting for Offerback. Good defensive coverage on Pete Metzelaars that time.
He was all over Metzelaars. There was no chance whatsoever.
We understand that we mentioned Jerry Butler's injury, that it was to the right ankle, and he is having x-rays taken. If we get any definitive word on the outcome of those x-rays, we'll, of course, pass it along to you. Butler pulled in a 25-yard touchdown pass from Kelly. It gave Buffalo at the time a 21-7 lead. However, the Dolphins have come back to make it 21-20. And right now, Kelly looks at 3rd and 10. Andre Reed in motion. Pressure. Kelly steps up, completes the pass to Byram out of the backfield. Going to be pulled down short of the 30-yard line and short of a first down. You can feel a little momentum shift here in the last few minutes as the Dolphin defense that's been beleaguered through the year muscling up to put pressure on the Bills and now force a kicking situation.
And they should wind up with pretty good field position this time when they kick it off.
John Kidd on to handle the punting chores for Buffalo. One of the Dolphins is shaken up. Last thing that Don Shula and this club needs, another injury problem. We'll take this break now with 3:55 to play in the 3rd quarter. Stay with us at Orchard Park. Part of the Dolphins forcing John Kidd now into a punting situation. 4th down and a foot needed for the first down. Craig Ellis in the deep spot is the return man for Miami. Here's Kidd's boot. This one low and not going very far. Looks like there'll be no opportunity for a run back. Kidd didn't really get that one at all, and the ball rolls dead inside the 40-yard line.
That is good field position for Miami to get the ball. They've got a little steam going now. They feel confident in themselves. They can march down there and get this score. It could be a whole new ball game, and Buffalo has to play catch up then.
They'll start from their 38. Marino a few moments ago with a scoring strike to Duper. Duper had one slip through his hands at about the 1-yard line, but then he atoned for it and came back quickly with the touchdown that pulled the Dolphins to within 1. Gervais with a couple of field goals. Marino with a pair of touchdown passes, and Miami goes to work now with their first opportunity to take the lead in this contest. Davenport across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. Ray Bentley there on the tackle.
Ray Bentley that time got a hold of Roy Foster, a Pro Bowler, number 61, and just beat right across his face and made the tackle. It's a real good play on his part.
One thing that the Dolphins have been able to do is to take this big crowd somewhat out of this ball game at this point.
It was all Buffalo earlier, but right now Miami's making a terrific comeback.
At the 43-yard line now. 2nd down after a pickup of nearly 5 yards. Marino keeps it on the ground. Hampton churning ahead for a tough yard or so. Buffalo muscling up at the 45-yard line. Miami with victories this year against Indianapolis, Buffalo, Indianapolis again, and Houston. Those have been their 4 wins. They have had a tough time because among those 4 wins, the teams they've beaten up have a combined record of just 5-35, which is not particularly impressive. And here you see 11 yards rushing today against an average of just over 85 per game this year. The ground game has not been the strength of the Dolphins, that's for sure. 3rd and 3. Marino completes it short of the first down. Nat Moore out of bounds just short of the 48-yard line. Dwight Drain was over there to bump Moore out of bounds. So some of the momentum that Miami had been building loses a bit of its luster here now as Roby comes on to punt.
Big change in the Miami Dolphin team. If you remember back in the early to mid-70s with Zonka and kick, and they just pound the ball down your throat. Now with Marino, all it is an air attack.
Roby's had a good day today. You can see 46-yard average, and here's Ron Pitts, who's been on the receiving end, number 27. His father, of course, Elijah Pitts, part of the coaching staff of the Buffalo Bills. Roby with time. Gets off a fairly short kick this time, and a fair catch called at the 20-yard line. Next Saturday, the PBA Tour continues on NBC Sports. We'll be bringing you the Brunswick Memorial World Open from Glendale Heights, Illinois. The world's finest bowlers scheduled to compete. Such names as Marshall Holman, Mark Roth, the reigning bowler of the year, and defending champion Mike Albee. So be sure to tune in next Saturday starting at 2 o'clock Eastern, 2:30 Pacific for the PBA Tour. And a November to remember here on NBC Sports. Talking earlier about the crowd and the fact that it's only the second sellout of the year here in Buffalo. When Jim Kelly signed a contract, boy, the fans started flocking. The season tickets sailed. And look at this graphic right here. This is what the average was in '85. Through today, this is the average now at 70,000 plus. That's a difference of more than 32,500 people. And you multiply that times about an average price of $15, and you're bringing in another $500,000 in gross revenue every time the Bills take the field. Somebody's got to be happy with that.
Not only are these numbers good, but today I think they've got like 76,744 people here today. So the average just moved up another 1,000 or 2.
That's right. They sold every ticket for this ball game. I want to remind you as well to stay tuned for the exciting second half on this doubleheader day on NBC. Some of you will see Eric Dickerson and the LA Rams battling the New England Patriots, or the Raiders going against the Cleveland Browns. Other regional action also on tap, so check your local listings for the game in your area. We've got some good ones coming up in the second half of our doubleheader here today. Some very interesting matchups there and some big ball games for some of those teams. And we start to seriously think about, 5 weeks to go after this, and playoffs are looming large.
A lot of those teams right there are fighting for their lives right now. You got LA, New England, all these teams in there are lost a couple games, and they're fighting for that wild card spot. Some important games happening today.
Look at the Giants trailing Minnesota 13-12. Chicago leading Atlanta by 3. New Orleans on top of St. Louis. No change in that game at Pittsburgh. AFC Central. Still low scoring at Philadelphia. Yeah, it's reminiscent of the World Series with scores like that. Buffalo with a 1-point lead, 1:57 to go in the third quarter, and Kelly looking deep on the near side for Reed. Contact made at the 45-yard line, and the penalty marker comes in. Paul Langford was the defender. Andre Reed, the intended receiver. If you saw the penalty marker at the 45-yard line, let's take another look at this one.
Andre Reed, number 83, had Mr. Langford turned around.
On the defense, number 45.
And knowing that he had it turned around, he puts on the brakes real quick and forces Langford into the situation. It was more Andre's smart thinking than it was Langford's deliberate penalty.
Yeah, we've had a little shift of momentum a couple of times here in this second half. Buffalo with a 21-10 halftime lead. Saw it shrink to 21-13, now 21-20, but then the Bills held, and now Buffalo with the football trying to come back and add that 1-point advantage. Byram and Riddick the setbacks, but Kelly wants to throw, going deep again. It's Reed. He's got the ball at the 15-yard line where he's pulled down. He turned William Judson around and made a super catch at the 15.
Jim Kelly that time threw a great ball. He saw that the defensive back was on the inside. He deliberately threw the ball over his outside shoulder to turn around so that the defensive back could not have a play at the ball. Great job by Jim Kelly.
And look at Kelly intently watching the sideline for the next play after a 30-yard pickup as we take another look.
There you can see what I mean with the defensive back on the inside of his shoulder, throws it on the outside so that the defensive back doesn't have a chance for the ball.
And look at the concentration on the part of Reed, who was on his way down when he gathered that one in. First down for the Buffalo Bills at the 14-yard line. Reed in motion. Kelly looking over the middle, in and out of the hands of Metzlars, the tight end. Pete Metzlars couldn't hang on, and a collective groan from this throng here at Orchard Park. They have enjoyed it thoroughly, however.
We've had some bad thrown balls today, but not very many. Most of them have been like this. They've been in the receiver's hands, and they've been dropped. These two quarterbacks are playing a great game, and the receivers, well, they've just not held on to all of them.
One of the first times of the year that they have had to play in really cold weather, either team. From the 14, Kelly in action again. Look at the protection. Now in trouble. Tripped up from behind. George Little just got a hand on his ankle, and it was enough to force Kelly to stumble. I don't think Kelly expected that at all. He had terrific protection in front of him, but Little, who was down flat out, comes up with the first sack of the afternoon by the Miami Dolphins, their 24th of the season.
Kelly that time had time to throw the ball, but didn't. Sometimes it's smarter just to throw the ball out of bounds than to sit there and wait for somebody to hit you.
So that's going to force a third down situation now for the Buffalo Bills. All at the 22-yard line. The numbers on Kelly for the day. 2 touchdown passes. 4-man Miami rush. Kelly dumps it off. It's underthrown. He was trying to go to Riddick out of the backfield, and Rob couldn't get there. Couldn't hang on. So that'll bring on the field goal unit now as Scott Norwood comes on the field. John Kidd will hold, and Norwood will make an attempt here to give the Bills a little bit of breathing room as we're down to the last 14 seconds of the third quarter.
One good thing for Miami that time, that's the first time today that Miami has really stopped Buffalo inside their own territory. So it's got to be a lift for the Dolphins.
Norwood will be attempting one from 40 yards now. You saw his stats on the year, 10 out of 15, a long of 44. This one from 40 yards. Got it on the way, and it sure looks like it's good with a lot to spare. Scott Norwood, with 10 seconds to go in the quarter, has just booted a 40-yard field goal. And the Buffalo Bills have stretched the lead now back to 4 points. We've got a good one going here today at Orchard Park between the Bills and the Dolphins. Delighted to have you along with us. 39 yards is the official distance on the Norwood field goal. In case you've just come by, let's quickly recap this one. We saw a 10-yard touchdown pass, Kelly to Byram, to give the Bills the early lead. Marino tied it up with a 19-yard touchdown toss to Davenport. Riddick went 11 yards to give Buffalo a 14-7 lead. 25-yard touchdown pass in the last minute 9 of the half gave Buffalo a 21-7 lead. But then the Bills got a 52-yard Reveiz field goal as time expired in the half to make it 21-10 in the halftime. Then we got a couple of field goals, a touchdown from Marino to Duper. And let's look at the reaction from Norwood now on that field goal that gives Buffalo the edge by 4. Taking a look, and there's a happy man going off the field. 10 seconds remaining now in this third quarter as we're back to action. Brad Ellis pulls it in at the 14-yard line. Still on his feet, bumped out of bounds across the 30 at about the 32. 2 seconds remaining now in the quarter. Dean Prater downfield to make the tackle that time for the Bills.
One thing, though, that the offensive team on the Dolphins side of the field says, hey, at least they only gave up 3. If they'd have given up 7, now we got to get a touchdown and a field goal to be in this game to win it. Now all we need is a touchdown. We can do that. So it's not quite as discouraging giving up that field goal as it would have been giving up the touchdown.
This will undoubtedly be the last play of the third quarter now as Marino sets his ball club. Hampton out of the backfield at the 34-yard line after he was tackled, lost the football, but I feel certain the play will be whistled dead. Ray Bentley with the tackle. You hear the gun in the background at the end of the third quarter. Our score, Buffalo 24, Miami 20. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. John Hanna back here at Orchard Park, New York. We look at statistics through three quarters. One number immediately looms on the left-hand side. The Dolphins 12 yards rushing. Total yards almost exactly even for the two teams now. In a 24-20 ball game, Buffalo on top by 4. Miami with the football at their own 35. Hampton in motion. Marino down the middle, in and out of the hand of Clayton. Got his right arm up. I don't think he was the primary receiver. Hardy, the tight end, was underneath, and Clayton, almost reacting instinctively, threw up his right hand, and the ball caromed off his arm. Bentley and Romes with defensive coverage against Marino. Third down coming up now. 9 yards needed for the first down.
On this play, they just brought in Tony Nathan, number 22. They bring him every passing situation because he is the designated man. He's the guy that's going to be coming out of that backfield for any kind of a fall-off or drop-off type pass.
So the third down efficiency on the graphic, the Dolphins #1 in the NFL in that category at nearly 49% on the season. Marino with time down the middle. Nice grab that time by Duper, and it's a catch at the 46-yard line in Buffalo territory. 19-yard pickup. He was in full stride that time, and he got both feet down.
You watch Duper right now as he runs his pattern. One thing that threw Buffalo off that time is they not only brought in Tony Nathan, they brought in Nat Moore in the backfield. They said, all right, you guys aren't going to blitz. We're going to send in our receivers and put them in the backfield as other receivers and make you so that you can't double up on people. And it was successful for them.
4 catches today. Duper went over the 200 career mark in receptions earlier in this contest. Clayton in motion this time as Marino fires to the left flat. Tight end Hardy. He's in first down range at about the 35-yard line. Tracked down by Martin Bayless, the strong safety. Marino going to work methodically now, running both sides of the field. Talked about so many options he has with that core of receivers. Cincinnati's lead has been extended now over Seattle. The Giants have bounced back over Minnesota. Chicago still leads Atlanta. No significant changes here in the games at St. Louis and Pittsburgh. And we're looking the same here at Philadelphia. In that 7-5 ball game, Detroit on top. 24-20 our score, just underway within the first minute of action in the fourth quarter. Miami on the move in Buffalo territory. Clayton in motion to the top of the screen. On the draw, it's Davenport. He's got 5 yards, and that's one of the better rushing attempts of the ball game for the Miami Dolphins as he gets to the 30. Attendance 76,474, less than 4,000 no-shows, despite the fact that it's been a very gloomy day, a wintry type day outside of Buffalo. You can see how the fans have bundled up to ward off the cold. Had the first substantial snowfall in western New York a couple of days ago. They cleared the field yesterday for the workouts. Still a little slippery in spots. Temperature got up around 40 degrees today. They were expecting more precipitation this afternoon in the form of light showers or possibly snow flurries. Neither one has really materialized thus far, but it has been a gloomy day as far as the skies are concerned, and for much of the afternoon, the Bills fans could have cared less as they led Miami up until just a few moments ago.
This series is going to be really crucial for Buffalo. Jim Kelly's got to come out there and lead his team down the field. They've got to walk away with some points, get some fire, get some excitement built up on the Buffalo sidelines. They're sitting there now. There's nobody jumping around, nobody moving around, nobody excited. He's got to pull them out. That's what he's paid to do.
We'll soon find out as Rebays kicks off for a second time, and this time much shorter. Tasker at the 18-yard line. Virtually no run back out across the 25. Did get a handful of yards, and the Bills will go to work as we check the ticker now. Minnesota in a seesaw affair back in front of the Giants. That one going up and down in the Metrodome. New Orleans with an additional field goal against the Cardinals in the fourth quarter. And now Philadelphia has a 1-point edge over Detroit. It's an 8-7 ball game going to the top of the 8th.
Fourth quarter score, Minnesota 20, the New York Giants.
I just saw him pull Steve Tasker off on the bench. He looked like he might be injured.
Tasker looked like he had been shaken up on an earlier special team situation today, but just ran that one back for a few yards. Now Kelly goes to work. Bills down for the first time, and Kelly wings this one out here, intended for Riddick out of the backfield. Can't quite get to it. It would have been very difficult to make the catch and get the feet down to stay in bounds. Bud Brown with the defensive coverage for Miami. Tasker, number 89, in the center of the screen there, trying to walk it off on the sideline for the Bills. This is his second game in a Buffalo uniform, having been acquired on waivers from Houston just 2 weeks ago.
And he has meant a lot to this ball club in those 2 weeks, too.
He's made a very significant contribution, no question about it. 2nd and 10. Kelly with time into coverage, and the Dolphins may have an interception here. No, they rule it as not. The ball was knocked away. Jackie Shipp was the man who was closest to coming up with it. The intended receiver was Reed. Blackwood was there, and down on the ground, I thought number 50 Shipp may have had his hands on it, but that was not the case.
Jim Kelly, number 12, might be pressing the ball a little bit too much, because I think I could have found a better receiver than that one. He was just too well covered.
Goes off of Blackwood, and then Shipp was there, couldn't hang on. He tried to juggle and then went down. Langford was also in the vicinity. So the Bills 5 for 12 in third down situations. Now look at 3rd and 10. And as you mentioned, John, an important series for Buffalo, now trailing in this one. 4-man rush. Kelly completes the pass. No, Burkett dropped it. Burkett had a hand on it. Langford and Renee Thompson were over there, and they popped him. And I've got a feeling that Burkett's a little shaken up as he comes off. And again, that left arm hanging down. He's had an injury problem. His elbow, it kept him out of the last couple of ball games, and he took a pretty good lick right there.
The injury to Jerry Butler is showing up more and more as this game progresses, because they haven't got a man on the outside that they can really release the ball to. Somebody with some speed.
Kozlowski and Ellis, twin return men now for Miami, as John Kidd awaits the snap. Gets the kick off from his own 18-yard line. This is a good high long one. Fair catch called for back at the 16 by Mike Kozlowski. Good boot that time by John Kidd, who really got his foot into it. 56 yards. So Miami with the lead, 11:18 to play. 15 to go. Miami now with the lead. They've had no ground game to speak of today. How do you use the clock here?
Well, they've got the tools and the little short passes, the little 4- or 5-yard dingies that can eat up the clock just as well as the running game. And believe me, Miami has not shown us they've got a running game today.
Well, we'll see how Marino and company elect to play it now. Leading 27-24. This big crowd imploring the Bills defense to come up with a big play. And Marino will go to the air on 1st down. Over the middle, and look here. Wide open on the near sideline is Mark Duper. Rodney Bellinger, the man they're picking on over in that corner, 19 yards on the pickup, and I believe that's about the 6th or 7th catch that Duper has made today. We'll check on that as we remind you to stay tuned for the exciting second half of our big doubleheader. Dickerson and the Rams battling the Patriots. That's one big ball game. The Raiders host the Cleveland Browns, plus other regional action, so check your local listings for the game coming up in your area. Big doubleheader day here in the NFL on NBC. At the 36-yard line, 1st down after that pass out to Mark Duper. Clayton in motion this time. Handoff inside. Davenport. Powers straight ahead. Bill's trying to stack him up, but a couple of yards gain. Sean McNanny on the tackle.
Dwight Stevenson, number 57 that time, had a great block against Fred Smerlis, but unfortunately his teammates couldn't keep McNanny outside to keep him coming in and making the play on Davenport. I still think they need to go with that pass. The running game still is not there.
See, the time of possession in this one as Marino surveys the scene once again. He has 3 touchdown passes this afternoon. Duper has caught 6 balls. Marino backpedaling down the middle. This one intended for Hardy goes incomplete. Shortly, those of you in Boston and Providence are going to be leaving us to watch the Patriots-Rams game. We'll be keeping you informed on the game throughout the rest of the afternoon, of course, on NFL 86. Hope you'll enjoy that one between the Patriots and the Rams. Big ball game there. 27-24, our score. Duper with 6 catches has 95 yards. He's pulled in this one thus far today, and you see the time remaining, 10:29. Still a lot of time. We expected an aerial circus. We've certainly had one today. A lot of footballs in the air. Marino, for the 20th time in his career, over 300 yards passing, has time. He's got some more. Mark Clayton to the 45-yard line in Buffalo territory, brought down by Dwight Green. Green, who played his high school football in Miami. 17 yards picked up on the pass that time to Clayton. John, you were mentioning when we came in at the top of the show, Clayton and Duper, as we watched the two of them in tandem. 41 receptions apiece coming in, and I think we mentioned Duper with 6 catches, and I think Clayton has 5 on the afternoon now. We'll try to double check that.
They look like twins out there. They're built alike. They walk alike. They even catch the ball alike.
I was wrong when I said 5. He has 3 on the afternoon. We'll stand corrected there. After the first down, Hampton breaks through the middle. He's got some room. Breaks another tackle and is pulled down at the 25. Oh, Lorenzo Hampton almost popped that one before Bayless dragged him down. And we talked about the fact that the Dolphins have struggled on the ground. They just got 20 yards from Lorenzo Hampton, and it was a big 20 yards because it puts them now deep in Buffalo territory at the 25 and gives the Dolphins another first down with 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go.
That's the long run of the day right there, 20 yards from the line of scrimmage.
It could be close to the long run of the year on the ground for the Dolphins. I don't have the exact number, but I don't think that it's more than 27, 28 yards. Pass over the middle, in and out of the fingers. Woody Bennett, I beg your pardon, he came out of the backfield. We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WSVN, Channel 7, Miami-Fort Lauderdale.
Our situation here, 8:51 to go. Miami taking the lead a few moments ago for the first time on a 4-yard touchdown pass to Dan Johnson. After Buffalo had led all afternoon, the Dolphins now threatening again, trying to stretch the lead that they enjoy 27-24. Here's the blitz. Dolphins pick it up. The pass complete. It's Hardy at the 20-yard line. Steve Freeman with the tackle. Buffalo was coming that time, and Marino was able to get rid of it in time.
Buffalo defense needs to be getting involved here, and they need to keep them out of the end zone. I mean, they're down by 3 right now. Time is beginning to be a factor, even though you do have a great quarterback in Jim Kelly that can deliver the pay dirt. You still got to keep them off the board.
Detroit now has jumped back in front of Philly in that low-scoring affair, 10-8 in the 4th quarter. 3rd down. A yard and a half needed here. Miami with a 27-24 lead, 8:45 to play. Penalty markers down as the play unravels. This could be a critical call right here.
We'll start. Number 68 for the offense.
So instead of 3rd and short yardage, Marino will now need about 6 yards, 6.5.
Number 68, Greg Cook, a little excited. You know, he came over from Green Bay. He'd been at Green Bay for many years as a starter. Now he's on the Miami Dolphins, wanting to make, I'm sure, a good impression by coming off that ball. Just got a little eager that time.
Again, you saw Don Shula on the sideline and the indication of the play to Don Strock, who was waving it into Marino. 3rd down, a little over 6 needed for the first down. Ball at the 22-yard line. We'll call it 3rd and 7. Here comes the blitz once again, and again Marino picks it up successfully inside the 10-yard line as he completes the pass. Pulling it in is Duper. Bellinger making the tackle, and for the 7th time today, Marino is hooked up with Duper, and a big first down call. The pressure was coming, and once again, second time in this series, Miami able to pick it up.
Just a little simple slant-in pattern with Bellinger. Bellinger does not have the speed to keep up with him. Just a mismatch with single coverage.
Good effort that time by Mark Duper, high in the air to pull that one down. His first National Football League start was against the Buffalo Bills back in 1983. He caught 7 balls that day for better than 200 yards. Here he is, a factor in this one. On the ground, Davenport still on his feet, gets down close to the 2-yard line before he's finally thrown back. The ball popping out of there, but after the play had been whistled dead. Miami muscling up here on the stretch run, and the Bills' opportunity to win their 2nd consecutive for the first time in 3 years starting to look a little slimmer now.
It is good looking, a little thin. They're still fighting. You see them running, hustling, trying to do what they can do, but the Dolphins have just decided to come after them. When Dolphins offense wants to play, there's not any better in the NFL.
Dan Marino has equaled his career record for passes completed in a game, and we'll try to update those numbers for you in a moment. Here's the play action fake, wide open. Well, not quite wide open, but still getting the touchdown is Hampton out of the backfield. He was wide open, and then the pass a little bit short as he turned back for it. Lorenzo Hampton comes up with the clutch catch. It is his 2nd pass reception for a score this year, and more importantly, with 7:04 to go, the Dolphins have now stretched out to a 9-point lead.
Don Shula, a great play selection there. He put Ray Bentley, number 50 with Buffalo, in a single coverage with Lorenzo Hampton. There's just no way that that big guy can cover Lorenzo Hampton. Good coaching job by Don Shula.
Bentley did a good job of getting over there after it looked like Hampton was wide open coming out of the backfield, but the Dolphins got the touchdown, and Reveiz on for the conversion attempt. He has it. We have 7 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in this football game, and the resurgent Miami Dolphins, who were down 21-10 at the half, have now stretched to a 10-point lead. And that's a personal best for Marino. Passes complete 36. Bills going to work from their own 10-yard line. Tasker across the 30. A squirt of hope and out close to the 40-yard line to try to get the crowd back in it. Kelly goes to work now with 6:54 to play. Remember, Buffalo led early 21-7, on top at halftime 21-10, but now down by 10, 34-24. The numbers on Kelly.
Let's watch Tasker here as he catches the ball.
Number 87 on the kick return team.
A little bit of life back in the team. However, this run that you see him making here, which was a great run, has been nullified. Another penalty has put him back in bad field position again.
That'll move this one back now to the 19-yard line. Out of the shotgun. Kelly down by 10 points, completes the pass out of the backfield. Ronnie Harmon. Don McNeil with defensive coverage for Miami.
And Buffalo's already gone into their hurry-up offense.
Indeed they have. No huddle. Getting ready to go. Waiting for the officials to rule the ball in play. Pickup of about 5 yards on that last pass. Kelly stepping up against the pressure. And look at that hit by Rene Thompson against Andre Reed. Rene Thompson, who is a rookie, has great speed. He was a college walk-on from the track team down at Baylor. He was a hurdles champion. Ended up playing some football there, and Don Shula says that this young man has a lot of potential.
He timed this hit just right. The ball got there, and bang, he did too. Nice blow.
So 3rd down and 5 for the Bills. Trailing now 34-24, and again out of the shotgun. Out of the backfield, Riddick on the far side. Got a little bit of room, but another fine tackle at about the 27-yard line by Rene Thompson. Thompson upended Riddick, and Riddick appeared to be short of the first down. So the kicking team comes onto the field to a chorus of boos here at Orchard Park, New York. 6 3:16 to go. Marv Levy, in his second game as head coach of the Bills, saw his club respond last week with a victory against the Steelers, 16-12. Up early by 2 touchdowns against the Dolphins, but now facing a very big obstacle as they have to surrender the football, down by 10 points. Kidd really getting his foot into another one, and back at the 16-yard line, it's Ellis. Ellis pulled down at the 25-yard line. Another strong kick on the part of John Kidd, another 56-yarder with a 9-yard return. Hal Garner making the tackle. We've got one of the Dolphins shaken up, Renee Thompson, who had made a couple of good defensive plays in that last series. A little slow getting back to his feet. Shula talking with Straka Marino across the way as to how they'll play it on this series now with a 10-point cushion and 6 minutes to play.
Well, the Dolphins on the last series did run the ball a few times a little better. That'll help them out somewhat. But, you know, when you think about the Buffalo kicking that ball away then on 4th down, you got to consider the fact that the Dolphins really haven't shown a run. They got to throw the ball to eat the clock up. So it's much better to punt away and hope you can get an interception than risk a 4th down situation.
Saw the numbers for Marino. 36 out of 51, 384 yards. The 36 completions mark a career best for Marino, now in his 4th year. If you're wondering how many times he's been over 400 yards, the answer is 5 in his career, and 470 is his career best there against the Rams in '84. On the ground, Hampton goes straight ahead for a couple. Trying to work on the clock now, and you see the time remaining here at the bottom of the screen.
You know, a lot of people walk away and they aren't enjoying the game, but I remember playing here once in '82. We were down by 10 points with about 5 minutes left. They went down and scored on us, and then we were ahead by 6. And then there was a 75-yard, what they called the miracle pass. We called it the disaster pass. And with no seconds left, they went on to beat us. And I'll never forget that one as long as I live. I about died.
Philadelphia back in front of Detroit. 12 seconds to go. Allegre's field goal has given the Giants the lead over Minnesota. Pass completed to Dan Johnson, so the Marino totals continue to mount out to about the 37-yard line. Eugene Marv in on the tackle with 5:13 and counting down now as Johnson, who caught a touchdown pass earlier. Late game's underway. The Raiders jumping out in front of Cleveland. New England, your old team, John, with a field goal against the Rams.
I like that.
Big game with Kansas City and Denver today, and the New York Jets scoring early. Giant Stadium against Indianapolis. Both still looking for win number 1. Clayton in motion. On the ground, it's Hampton with the football. First down carry inside the 5-minute mark. 4:38 to go.
Buffalo today has shown that they can play run defense. But when it comes to the pass defense, they haven't shown a whole lot. Of course, when you play Miami, not a whole lot of teams do play good pass defense.
Marino, who started slowly, as we mentioned, has put up some very impressive numbers in this one. And you get a feel for the mood on the near sideline amongst the Buffalo Bills. Had such great hopes coming into this one. Looking to win a back-to-back situation for the first time since '83 and to break a streak against Miami. However, with this completion to Hampton, it's going to be short of the first down. Miami still controlling the clock and the situation now. And it looks like Miami is well on the way to a 6th consecutive victory against the Buffalo Bills.
There's no worse feeling in the world to be sitting over on the sideline knowing that you were leading this game all the way through until, what, middle of the 3rd quarter, into the 3rd quarter. And then all of a sudden they get out in front. And it's got to be frustrating, and especially because they got in front, not because of your poor performance as much as you just made some silly mistakes during the game.
Marino with 4 touchdown passes on the day, now getting close to 400 yards in the passing department. Working out of the shotgun in this 3rd down situation. 3:13 left to go. Ball fumbled, handoff inside Tony Nathan. If he pops out of there, look out. He's to the 45-yard line. Nathan broke a tackle. Picked up a quick burst there as we hit the 3-minute mark, taking him into Buffalo territory. 15-yard gain on that one for Tony Nathan.
Tony Nathan's been a back in Miami that has proven himself year after year. I can remember playing a lot of games against it. My only regret is that he came to Alabama after I'd already left. I'd like to have blocked for that guy.
Well, you had an opportunity to play for Bear Bryant, one of the great names in the history of college football. And I know that there's a certain amount of fondness that you look back on those years. Pitch out this time. Hampton, the ball carrier, against the somewhat dispirited Buffalo club now down to the 35-yard line, and that's almost another 10-yard pickup. You can see the seconds ticking away as we approach the 2-minute warning. Tony Perjanik and Charles Romes, or Eugene Marv, I beg your pardon, and Romes making the tackle. Dolphins feeling confident now after a great second half comeback. After being down by 11, with 2 minutes to go, they lead Buffalo by 10. Player Award sponsored by Budweiser, and without question today's MVP Dan Marino from the Miami Dolphins. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's games. And look at the numbers for Marino. 4 touchdown passes, 394 total yards. The 38 completed passes is a career high for him. Making a bid here in the final minutes. He still may put it up one more time and go over the 400-yard mark for what would be the 6th time in his career. Came into this ball game leading the NFL in 5 different categories as far as offense is concerned. Despite the fact that Miami's struggling with a 4-6 record coming in, look like they're not going to have a chance to get into the playoffs, only the slimmest of possibilities. Marino continues to impress. 4 touchdown passes today, giving him 27 on the season. 5 games yet to go. Miami controlling the football, second down, yard needed in Buffalo territory at the 35. Hampton looks like he has that yard for another first down, and Ray Bentley makes still another tackle. An active day for him, but certainly a disappointing day for Bentley and his teammates. We have a timeout taken, 1:54 to go, with Miami now firmly in control. Tells you the situation. Miami coming from 11 down at halftime to lead by 10 with less than 2 minutes to go. Marino enjoying a spectacular afternoon with 4 touchdown passes. Now splits Nat Moore out wide to the left. Pitch out goes to Hampton. Hampton being chased and dragged down by Smith.
What we've seen today in this turnovers is the turnovers and mistakes by the Bills. You know, we had a fumble by Reddick down here that set up a touchdown for the Dolphins, and then they get capitalized. Momentum turns around. Dolphins go down, score. They keep grinding, getting the momentum on their side. Finally, it's almost a blowout here in the last quarter of football. It's been all Dolphins.
Executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of NBC football coverage, Ted Nathanson. Coordinating producer of NFL 86, John J. Filippelli. Today's telecast produced by Elliot Warner. Directed by Brian Sheriff. NFL 86 produced by Rick Diamond. NFL 86 directed by Mary Buta Lamuscio. Our technical directors, Richard Sansevere and Sal Nagita. Hope that you've enjoyed this one today from Orchard Park. Talk about that swing in the second half, John, and just the first down department. Miami had 10 in the first half. They've had 18 in the second for a total of 28. Buffalo, with those impressive early drives, had 11 first downs in the first half, only 3 in the second half for 14 total.
That's a big swing in anybody's book. Buffalo Bills, though, they know they've got a better team than what they're showing right here in the second half. I don't understand, you know, a lot of times when you're falling back and they've lost a lot of games in the second half, and they fall back like this. A lot of times it's either because of one or two things. Number one, they're out of shape. They aren't producing the effort that they need in the second half. Or number two, they've worked so hard during the week that they aren't rested and ready to play on game day.
Lorenzo Hampton pulling in that short pass there from Marino. Waiting to see now. There may have been a penalty marker down, which we did not realize. Once again, here on the Buffalo bench, you can see the spirit that now prevails. Buffalo has been frustrated by the Dolphins on so many occasions. We mentioned that it's been 9 of the past 10 in the meetings between these clubs that Miami had won. Actually, you could go back and they've won 30 out of the last 33. That's a serious domination over the years.
Miami's dominated everybody in our conference that way. You know, you can just count them off. They've won so many games. They've just been the premier team in the East. And everybody else is completely jealous of them.
Once again, second half of the doubleheader is coming up. Some of you are going to be seeing the Rams battling the Patriots, the Raiders against the Browns. These are the other games, Indianapolis and New York, and Kansas City at Denver in the big one. Game 2 on our doubleheader. We'll be leaving here shortly as we're down to 1 minute and 30 seconds left to play in this one. And with that last pass completion, Marino is now over 400 yards. He has completed 39 of 54 for 404 yards. The 6th time in his career to go over that 400-yard mark. And off here is Davenport. Look out, he turns the corner. Pulled down at the 10-yard line. Good second effort that time on the part of Ron Davenport. 14-yard pickup. Davenport scored a touchdown on the receiving end of a pass from Marino a bit earlier in this one, and trying to get a little more insurance here in this last minute and 10 seconds.
You know, a lot of times with Miami, what's impressed me about them today is sometimes a team is a winning team and they just win and, you know, they keep going. But once they get down, they tend to give up and not fight for the rest of the year. The Dolphins, they've proven today that they aren't front runners. They aren't people that just win when they've got a good team. They're fighters. They're out hustling. And they came from behind today and did a good job at what their game plan was.
John Shula, the man who says he'll never let an error go unchallenged, has to be pleased with this comeback performance. Now Marino, knowing that the Bills are out of opportunities to stop the clock, goes down on one knee, and they go through the formalities of some handshakes and some back slaps as we see the final seconds tick away. And a disappointed crowd, it was a sellout crowd here today at Orchard Park, has seen the Bills with a magnificent early performance in that 21-7 lead in the first half, ending up now short by 10 points at 34-24. Counting it down, look at the grin on Marino's face. Don Shula congratulating Marv Levy. And there we have it. It is now official. It is in the books. We wrap it up. Our thanks for you being with us now. Stand by for the second half of our doubleheader as we send you to your local station.